Chapter 2548. All right. Although Ningyu was unwilling, he could only choose to compromise. After all, there were only 3 martial artists left in the outer hall of the Crown Prince Palace. If Qin He were to fight with him now, he might not be able to gain the upper hand, and might even fail miserably. Of course, these were all Qin He's own imagination. He thought that Ningyu was afraid, so he gave him the Violent Dragon Elixir, a peak early Emperor-level elixir. Little did he know. After he and the Violent Dragon Elixir were in his hands, Ningyu slowly moved to the front of the crippled old man. Squatting down, Ningyu began to search the body of the crippled old man. A moment later, Ningyu got up. However, in Ningyu's hands, there was a jade bottle and a spatial ring. Without a doubt, the jade bottle and spatial ring belonged to the crippled old man. If Qin He knew what was in the jade bottle and spatial ring, he would probably vomit blood. There were a total of 5 Emperor-level elixirs in the jade bottle. As for the spatial ring, it was even more exaggerated. There were countless 2-realm stones, enlightenment stones, Tao fruits, and even 100 drops of inferior Emperor spirit liquid, as well as a few drops of quasi-emperor blood essence. Ningyu could judge. These quasi-emperor blood essence should be high-level quasi-emperor blood essence. At this stage, for Ningyu, these things were more useful than a Violent Dragon Elixir. After all, it took some time to swallow the Violent Dragon Elixir. Even a second was enough to be fatal. Congratulations, you have advanced. Ningyu had just received the jade bottle and spatial ring when the Emperor Lord's voice rang in their ears. Creak. Then, the door of the outer hall was pushed open. Ningyu, Qin He, and the gray-robed old man, they walked out a few steps apart. Among them, Ningyu represented the 5th prince, Yang Yuming. Qin He represented the 18th prince, Yang Zhaokai. The gray-robed old man represented the 25th prince, Yang Qian. Creak. Just as Ningyu and the others left the outer hall, the tightly shut door to the inner hall slowly opened. Similarly, 3 cultivators walked out side by side. In the middle was the 18th Prince Yang Zhaokai, on the left was the 25th Prince Yang Qian, and on the right was the 5th Prince Yang Yuming. Unanimous. It was surprisingly consistent. The victorious warriors of the inner and outer halls belonged to the same faction. Yang Yuming is indeed hiding something. Ningyu frowned slightly, feeling a little surprised. To be honest, he was already prepared for Yang Yuming's defeat. Unexpectedly, Yang Yuming was so powerful that he could actually obtain a seat among so many princes. The 25th prince is hiding his strength well. Ningyu then looked at Yang Qian. Before, no one had expected Yang Qian to win. Even the few rank 6 quasi-emperors hidden in the void did not expect Yang Qian to stand out. Voila! When Yang Yuming and the others walked out of the inner hall, the God Monarch's words echoed in everyone's ears once more. Congratulations on winning the first stage. Next, the second stage of the test will be even more brutal. The God Monarch's gaze was sharp as he stared at Yang Yuming and said in a deep voice, Yang Yuming, go and challenge Yang Zhaokai. If you win, you will enter the next round. If you lose, you will be directly eliminated. Boom. The God Monarch's words caused a huge uproar in the surroundings. Not only Yang Yuming, even Ningyu and Qin He were somewhat surprised. Let Yang Yuming challenge Yang Zhaokai? If that was the case, didn't it mean that Yang Qian did not need to fight and could easily enter the next round? Russell. Yang Yuming and Yang Zhaokai knew that the God Monarch always meant what he said. The two of them took a step forward at the same time, cupped their hands at each other, and then began the battle. Rumble. Originally, Yang Yuming was just a late-stage rank 1 quasi-emperor. It was unknown what he experienced in the inner hall, but now his cultivation had reached early-stage rank 2 quasi-emperor. As for Yang Zhaokai, he was even more terrifying. His cultivation was late-stage rank 2 quasi-emperor. The battle between Yang Yuming and Yang Zhaokai was very exciting. All kinds of magic arts flew everywhere. You punched me, I punched you. The scene was very lively. What the hell is the god monarch doing? Qin He's expression did not change, but he secretly became cautious in his heart. Could it be that the god monarch discovered Yang Zhaokai's secret? Actually, Qin He faintly guessed some things. Yang Zhaokai colluded with a heavenly demon. In fact, Yang Zhaokai himself was a heavenly demon. Of course, this was just Qin He's guess. Even if he knew Yang Zhaokai's true identity, he would not make it public either. After all, Yang Zhaokai could provide him with large amounts of resources for him to cultivate, to help him break through to rank 5 Quasi-Emperor, rank 6 Quasi-Emperor, and even rank 7 Quasi-Emperor. Ningyu, what good things did you get inside? In midair, Yang Yiming was still fighting with Yang Zhaokai when Ning Lu and Ao Xing quietly arrived in front of Ningyu. The one who spoke was Ning Lu. He used his nose to sniff at Ningyu's body, and then said, "You have a Quasi-Emperor blood essence, and it's even a high-level Quasi-Emperor blood essence. Quickly give me a few drops, I want to break through to rank 4 Quasi-Emperor." "I want a few drops too," Ao Xing echoed. Ningyu rolled his eyes. The Quasi-Emperor blood essence was in the spatial ring, and he put it in the Red Fiend's sword. Did Ning Lu have a dog's nose? How did he find out? However, thinking about it, Ningyu still said, "There are a total of 6 drops of high-level Quasi-Emperor blood essence. I'll keep one, the Dark Emperor has one, the Red Fiend has one, and the 2 of you, 1 each. I'll leave the rest for the others." Ningyu's parents, Water Moon Fairy, and the others were all at the 5th prince's residence. A drop of high-level Quasi-Emperor blood essence should be able to help them break through to the Immortal King realm, or even the peak of the Immortal King realm. All right. Even though Ning Lu was unwilling, he could only nod. For him, swallowing a drop of Quasi-Emperor blood essence would give him an 80% chance of breaking through to rank 4 Quasi-Emperor. As for Ao Xing, if he used a drop of Quasi-Emperor blood essence, coupled with his own situation, he would have a 90% chance of breaking through to rank 4 Quasi-Emperor. Rumble. On the other side, Ningyu had just finished distributing the Quasi-Emperor blood essence. On the other side, the battle had reached its climax. Yang Zhaokai swallowed an Emperor-level medicinal pill, and his cultivation directly rose to the peak of rank 2 Quasi-Emperor realm. Yang Yiming did not want to lag behind. He drank a mouthful of golden liquid, and his cultivation also rose to the peak of rank 2 Quasi-Emperor realm. Trump card. This was their absolute trump card. I can't compare to them. Yang Qian shook his head slightly when he saw the intense battle between Yang Yiming and Yang Zhaokai. He also had a trump card. However, his trump card was far from Yang Yiming and Yang Zhaokai's. Even if he used his trump card, his cultivation could only rise to the peak of rank 2 Quasi-Emperor realm. For a genius, even a small difference in cultivation level was enough to be fatal. In fact, in the inner hall of the Crown Prince's palace, the 3 of them had first worked together to defeat the others, and then they had sparred with each other. At that time, he had lost to Yang Yiming and Yang Zhaokai by a single move. "Don't panic, 25th Prince." As if reading Yang Qian's mind, the gray-robed elder quietly came to his side and asked in a low voice, "What is this?" As he spoke, the gray-robed elder took out a medicinal pill and quietly stuffed it into Yang Qian's hands. This book came from Chapter 2549. This is, as soon as he took the pill, Yang Qian's expression changed. The pill that the elder gave him was of an extremely high grade. Although it was not a mid-emperor pill, in a sense, its effects were comparable to a mid-emperor pill. How precious was a mid-emperor pill? It could be said that even a high-level quasi-emperor would covet it. "Don't make a fuss." The elder looked around and said in a low voice, "While everyone else is watching the battle between Yang Yiming and Yang Zhaokai, quickly consume it and try to raise your cultivation to rank 3 quasi-emperor." Yang Qian did not speak, but hid the pill in his sleeve, activated a technique, and began to refine it carefully. If it was under normal circumstances, if Yang Qian were to refine this pill, it would definitely be discovered by others. But now, everyone's attention was on Yang Yiming and Yang Zhaokai. Who would notice Yang Qian? Of course. Among so many people, there would definitely be a weirdo. Ning Yu. That's right, this weirdo was Ning Yu. At first, Ning Yu's attention was on Yang Yiming and Yang Zhaokai, but as the battle progressed, he vaguely realized that Yang Qian was unusual. Logically speaking, as one of the three victorious princes, Yang Qian would definitely spar with the winner of Yang Yiming and Yang Zhaokai. Under such circumstances, he did not watch the battle, but instead closed his eyes to rest. To be honest, this was not normal. I see. Ning Yu looked at it for a while and found some clues. After all, the pill that Yang Qian was consuming was a peak early emperor pill, comparable to the violent dragon pill. Even with the elder's help to seal the void, this level of pill still emitted some medicinal power. Ning Yu was able to determine something from the medicinal efficacy that was emitted. However, Ning Yu was not stupid enough to expose Yang Qian. He did not know if he would be able to meet Yang Qian next. Once Yang Yiming was defeated, Yang Yiming would be out of the fight for the position of crown prince. Only if Yang Yiming defeated Yang Zhaokai would he be able to fight Yang Qian head-on. Poof! In midair, Yang Zhaokai took advantage of Yang Yiming's mistake and punched him in the chest. The enormous force directly sent Yang Yiming flying. His body heavily smashed onto the ground and he spat out a mouthful of fresh blood. Surrender! Yang Zhaokai did not follow up with another attack. Instead, he floated in the air with his arms crossed in front of his chest. Your strength is far from mine. Even if you forcefully raise your cultivation to the peak of the second order, you are still no match for me. Really? Yang Yiming wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth, looked at Yang Zhaokai and said, I'm afraid it's still too early to say these things. Yang Zhaokai raised his eyebrows and said, Could it be that you still have other trump cards? Both sides had already fought to this extent. To be honest, even if Yang Yiming had a trump card, Yang Zhaokai was not afraid of anything. There was no other reason. Yang Zhaokai also had a trump card. Of course. Yang Yiming growled and immediately took out a talisman from his bosom. A high-grade quasi-emperor talisman. The talisman that Yang Yiming took out was a high-grade quasi-emperor talisman. The power of this talisman was extremely powerful. In the case of a sneak attack, even a rank 5 quasi-emperor would be killed. However, Yang Zhaokai would not foolishly watch Yang Yiming activate the high-grade quasi-emperor talisman. At their level, victory or defeat was decided in an instant. As long as Yang Yiming dared to use the high-grade quasi-emperor talisman, Yang Zhaokai had absolute confidence in defeating him. Open! Yang Yiming did not seem to play his cards according to common sense. He growled and threw out the high-grade quasi-emperor talisman in his hand. What the F***ck? For real? Yang Zhaokai was a little confused. He did not expect that Yang Yiming would directly use the high-grade quasi-emperor talisman. One had to know that the activation time of a high-grade quasi-emperor talisman required 1 second. One should not underestimate this second. Yang Zhaokai had absolute confidence in defeating Yang Yiming in this second. Since you're seeking death, then don't blame me. Yang Zhaokai's eyes revealed a decisive look. Gritting his teeth, he took out another medicinal pill and threw it into his mouth. Boom! The medicinal pill entered his stomach. Yang Zhaokai's aura directly soared from peak rank 2 quasi-emperor to rank 3 quasi-emperor. Break! After advancing to rank 3 quasi-emperor, Yang Zhaokai clenched his right hand into a fist and punched at the high-grade quasi-emperor talisman that Yang Yiming threw out. Crack! A crisp sound rang out. The high-grade quasi-emperor talisman that Yang Yiming took out shattered on the spot. Not good. However, the instant the high-grade quasi-emperor talisman shattered, Yang Yiming tore the void and arrived beside Yang Zhaokai. Furthermore, Yang Yiming gathered all the energy in his body into his fist and ruthlessly punched at Yang Zhaokai's chest. Bang! Without a doubt, Yang Zhaokai's attention was practically all on the high-grade Quasi-Emperor talisman. He only discovered it when Yang Yiming's fist arrived in front of him. But at this time, Yang Zhaokai discovered that it was clearly a little too late. Yang Yiming's fist that contained terrifying energy could not be avoided and bombarded Yang Zhaokai's chest. The huge force directly sent Yang Zhaokai flying backward. Poochie! Fresh blood spurted out of his mouth. The current Yang Zhaokai was much more miserable than Yang Yiming earlier. You lost. Yang Yiming similarly floated in midair after his attack succeeded. He looked at Yang Zhaokai coldly and said, "The position of Crown Prince is completely fated with you. I didn't lose, I still have it." Yang Zhaokai stood up with difficulty, wanting to say something, but before his voice faded, he vomited another mouthful of blood. Buzz! In the void, the Emperor appeared at the right time. He swept a glance over Yang Yiming and Yang Zhaokai, saying indifferently, "Yang Zhaokai is eliminated. In the next round, Yang Yiming and Ning Yu will join forces to deal with Yang Qian and Chen Feng. The battle begins immediately." Whoosh! The Emperor's words caused the surrounding martial artists to be somewhat moved. What did the Emperor mean? Yang Zhaokai was eliminated. Everyone could understand. After all, he lost to Yang Yiming. However, Yang Yiming had just experienced a great battle. Letting him fight with Yang Qian at this time was extremely disadvantageous to him. Moreover, there was another point. Everyone could tell that the gray-robed old man called Chen Feng had a cultivation of rank 5 Quasi-Emperor. Ning Yu's cultivation was merely an early-stage rank 3 Quasi-Emperor. Would an early-stage rank 3 Quasi-Emperor have a chance of winning against a rank 5 Quasi-Emperor? The answer was clearly no. Please! The Emperor's decision benefited Yang Qian the most. He took a step forward and made an inviting gesture, saying, "Fifth brother, let's split it up. You and I will exchange pointers. Chen Feng and Ning Yu will exchange pointers, and only the winner will exchange pointers. How about it?" Yang Qian's idea was very simple. Chen Feng's victory over Ning Yu was a sure thing. As long as he defeated Yang Yiming, the final position of Crown Prince would be his. However, he was also afraid of failing miserably. Chapter 2550. In that case, it would be impolite of me to refuse. Yang Yiming glanced at Ning Yu, then leaped up and charged at Yang Qian. Rumble! The battle between the two erupted in an instant. Yang Qian displayed his rank 3 Quasi-Emperor cultivation from the get-go, and was practically suppressing Yang Yiming. On the other hand, Yang Yiming. He had just finished fighting with Yang Zhaokai and had yet to recover to his peak state, and was nearly defeated several times. On the other side, Ning Yu and Chen Feng did not start fighting. The two of them stood where they were, looking at each other, neither knowing what the other was thinking. Just a little more. Ning Yu did not make a move because he was refining the blood essence of a high-level Quasi-Emperor. His cultivation was only at rank 3 Quasi-Emperor, and if he really fought with Chen Feng, who was a rank 5 Quasi-Emperor, his chances of winning were very low. Therefore, he had been refining the blood essence from the beginning, striving to break through to rank 3 Quasi-Emperor as soon as possible. As long as he could break through to rank 3 Quasi-Emperor, even if he faced Chen Feng, who had just become a rank 5 Quasi-Emperor, he had a chance of winning. After all, Chen Feng had just advanced to rank 5 Quasi-Emperor, and had not completely stabilized. As for Chen Feng, his thoughts were actually similar to Ning Yu's. When Ning Yu and Qin he joined forces to kill the lame old man in the outer hall of the Crown Prince's palace, he was very shocked. Now that he had not recovered to his peak state, he naturally did not dare to take the initiative to attack. To ensure that nothing went wrong, he was refining medicinal pills to recover, striving to recover to peak state before fighting with Ning Yu. The scene suddenly became a little strange. Yes, it was strange. Yang Yiming and Yang Qian were fighting. Their two advisors stood where they were, with no intention of making a move. This is really infuriating. The most depressed was Yang Zhaokai. He was simply about to explode from anger. Originally, he should have been the one fighting with Yang Qian. After all, his strength was stronger than Yang Yiming's. However, Yang Yiming dared to fight and was willing to give up some things. Yang Yiming gave up a high-level quasi-emperor talisman, otherwise, he would not have been able to defeat him. There should still be a chance. Although Qin He's face was gloomy, it seemed to be a lot better than Yang Zhaokai's. He pursed his lips at the sovereign emperor in midair and said, "The sovereign emperor must have his reasons for arranging for you to fight Yang Yiming first. If nothing goes wrong, as long as you take the initiative to ask, you'll have at least one additional chance to challenge him." Hearing Qin He's analysis, Yang Zhaokai frowned slightly. In fact, what Qin He said was not without reason. After all, he had just finished sparring with Yang Yiming, and the Celestial Emperor had arranged for Yang Yiming to spar with Yang Qian. This arrangement was clearly to prevent Yang Yiming from seizing the position of Crown Prince. Got it! Suddenly, Yang Zhaokai seemed to have thought of something. He slapped his head and a look of ecstasy appeared on his face. The supporter behind Yang Yiming was the Lingyun sect. As for the Lingyun sect, it was the sect that Yang Yiming's mother belonged to. However, a few years ago, the cloud-soaring sect's sect leader had offended an emperor. If Yang Yiming's mother had not pleaded on behalf of the Soaring Cloud sect's sect leader, the Soaring Cloud sect would have been destroyed. Now that the emperor had suddenly made this arrangement, there was naturally a deeper meaning behind it. I see. The more Yang Zhaokai thought about it, the more excited he got. It was to the extent that he felt that the position of Crown Prince was none other than him. Because after Yang Yiming and Yang Qian fought, his vitality would definitely be greatly depleted. No matter which of the two of them won, the one who benefited in the end would be him. Between Ning Yu and Chen Feng, with Qin He's strength, the victor between them was also something that was in the bag. Bang! While Yang Zhaokai was still thinking, the outcome of the battle in midair was already decided. As everyone expected, Yang Qian, whose cultivation was at rank 3 quasi-emperor realm, had the upper hand from the start. In the end, he still had the upper hand. He seized an opportunity and domineeringly defeated Yang Yiming, falling onto the ground, his complexion pale. It could be seen. Yang Qian's attacks were extremely ruthless, without the slightest intention of holding back. If not for Ning Yu admitting defeat on Yang Yiming's behalf, Yang Qian would likely have continued to launch attacks. "Old Chen, it's up to you next." Yang Qian withdrew helplessly and said to Chen Feng. The current Yang Qian was somewhat regretful in his heart. If he had known that Yang Yiming was so weak, he would definitely have changed his mind. If he had reached an agreement with Yang Yiming earlier, and the victor was the Crown Prince, wouldn't Chen Feng not need to fight with Ning Yu? Although Yang Qian thought highly of Chen Feng, who knew if Ning Yu had any trump cards? Yang Qian was very clear. How intense was the battle in the outer hall of the Crown Prince's palace. Even someone as strong as the crippled old man was killed by the joint attack of Ning Yu and Qin He. Under such circumstances, he did not believe that Ning Yu had no trump cards. "No problem." Chen Feng nodded, then said to Ning Yu, "You go first. Your cultivation is weaker than mine, so I'll let you make the first move, in case you don't even have a chance to attack later." "Many thanks." Ning Yu did not stand on ceremony. He directly drew out the red demon sword and slashed in the air. Chen Feng had recovered to his peak, and Ning Yu had also advanced to the middle stage of the Third Order Quasi-Emperor. The reason why Chen Feng let Ning Yu make the first move was that he wanted to judge Ning Yu's true battle prowess through Ning Yu's first move. If Ning Yu was too strong, he would directly use his full strength to defeat Ning Yu. If Ning Yu was too weak, then he would properly play with Ning Yu. The sword light that Ning Yu slashed out was only as thick as an arm, and in the blink of an eye, it arrived before Chen Feng. Insignificant skill. Chen Feng casually threw out a fist light, which unavoidably collided with the sword light. The two collided. The sword light and the fist light disappeared at the same time, as if they had never appeared. You can withstand a punch with 30% of my strength. Chen Feng's expression gradually turned serious. The power of his punch just now was equivalent to 30% of his peak. Although he did not know how much of the power of Ning Yu's sword light was equivalent to that of his peak, he knew that Ning Yu was indeed a little difficult to deal with. He did not know whether Ning Yu was strong or not, but Ning Yu was really not weak. Use my full strength. Chen Feng's eyes flashed as he clenched his right hand into a fist and directly punched at Ning Yu. This punch, Chen Feng directly used his full strength, not holding back at all. How powerful was the full strength of a fifth-order quasi-emperor? In the eyes of the surrounding crowd, not to mention that Ning Yu was a middle-stage third-order quasi-emperor, even if Ning Yu was a peak quasi-emperor of the three realms, he might not be able to withstand it. However, how could Ning Yu be judged by common sense? Injecting energy into the red demon sword, Ning Yu similarly used his full strength. Crack! The next moment a crisp sound rang out. Then, Chen Feng revealed a horrified expression and hurriedly retreated. How is this possible? Beside him, Yang Qian stared blankly at the palm that had fallen to the ground, completely dumbfounded. The palm of a fifth-order quasi-emperor, Chen Feng, was actually chopped off by an early third-order quasi-emperor? Not only Yang Qian, but the surrounding martial artists, including Ning Lu and Ao Xing, also did not dare to believe it. Wasn't this too terrifying? Chapter 25:51. Devour. Seeing Chen Feng retreat, Ning Yu flicked his wrist and tossed out the red demon sword. Chi. The red demon sword stuck to Chen Feng's severed hand, and a violent devouring power surged out. It only took 1 second. Chen Feng's hand was completely devoured and turned into nothingness. Gulp! Ning Yu forcefully severed Chen Feng's hand and used the red demon sword to devour it, causing the surrounding martial artists to swallow a mouthful of saliva. They had seen low-level quasi-emperors fighting mid-level quasi-emperors before. Most of the martial artists of the Divine Wind Empire's Law Enforcement Hall could do this. However, the martial artists of the Law Enforcement Hall were all rank 3 quasi-emperors fighting rank 4 quasi-emperors. Ning Yu, on the other hand, he had defeated Chen Feng with the cultivation of a rank 3 quasi-emperor. You're courting death. The immortal qi in Chen Feng's body surged and gradually poured into his arm, using the immortal qi to reform his hand. At Chen Feng's level of cultivation, he already possessed the ability to reform his hand. Not long later his palm was unscathed. But everyone knew that, no matter how one looked at it, the new palm that Chen Feng had condensed was weaker than the previous one. He took a deep breath. Chen Feng looked coldly at Ning Yu and said fiercely, "I will let you know what a real rank 5 quasi-emperor is." As he spoke, Chen Feng bent his legs slightly, and his body shot out like a sharp sword. Chi! 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 Chen Feng's speed was so fast that the friction with the air produced a hissing sound. In a mere 0.1 second, Chen Feng arrived in front of Ning Yu and used his left fist, which contained a terrifying energy fluctuation, to punch Ning Yu's head. Chen Feng was very smart. He knew that his right hand had just been formed, and its power was extremely weak. Using his right hand to deal with Ning Yu might not be of any use. Therefore, he used his left hand to deal with Ning Yu, hoping to inflict serious damage on Ning Yu. However, the ideal was great, but the reality was harsh. Condensing his right palm consumed too much of Chen Feng's energy. Under such circumstances, how could Chen Feng hurt Ning Yu? Gotcha! His left palm had just arrived in front of Ning Yu when Ning Yu brandished the red demon sword and slashed out. A crisp sound rang out. Then, Chen Feng's pupils shrank and he quickly retreated. The same scene, the same result. However, this time, The palm that was severed was not the right hand but the left hand. Chi. Ning Yu controlled the red demon sword and quickly devoured Chen Feng's left palm. After losing 2 palms in a row, Chen Feng's heart was bleeding. Although he could condense a new palm, every time he did so, he would need to expend a lot of energy and even some vitality. Now that both of his palms had been chopped off and devoured by the red demon sword, Chen Feng's heart was bleeding. Admit defeat. If you continue to fight, your entire body will be devoured. Ning Yu floated in the air, holding the red demon sword in his hand as he looked at Chen Feng and said calmly. In truth, if the battle continued, there was a chance that Ning Yu would completely devour Chen Feng. However, there was also a chance that he would lose. After all, Chen Feng was a rank 5 quasi-emperor. He should still have some trump cards. If they fought head-on, it was likely that both sides would suffer. Furthermore, with Yang Qian here, he probably would not watch as Chen Feng was killed. At the last moment, Yang Qian would probably admit defeat on Chen Feng's behalf. In that case, if the battle continued, Ning Yu would not be able to obtain any benefit. You want me to admit defeat? Dream on. Chen Feng wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth and condensed his left hand again. He said coldly, You are indeed strong, but your soul power is not as strong as mine. Swish. In an instant, the soul power in Chen Feng's body surged out and frantically pressed toward Ning Yu. In terms of martial strength, Chen Feng knew that even if he could defeat Ning Yu, it would be a Pyrrhic victory. Furthermore, the possibility of him winning was very low, even lower than the possibility of Ning Yu defeating him. Using soul power to attack Ning Yu was the wisest choice. Soul power? Ning Yu's expression was calm. There was not the slightest fluctuation in his emotions. After advancing to the mid-stage rank 3 quasi-emperor, the strength of Ning Yu's soul power was no weaker than an ordinary rank 5 quasi-emperor's. If Chen Feng wanted to defeat him with soul power, it would be more difficult than ascending to the heavens. Perhaps I can completely devour him. Ning Yu's gaze swept around as he thought to himself. As long as he could defeat Chen Feng's soul power, Chen Feng would most likely become a fool. Once Chen Feng became a fool, Ning Yu had absolute confidence that he could control Chen Feng. After controlling Chen Feng and bringing him back to the 5th prince's residence, wouldn't he be able to do anything to him? What is Ning Yu doing? Who knows? He's probably scared out of his wit. That's possible. Chen Feng's attainments in the Tao of the Soul are very profound. In terms of the martial way, he is on par with Ning Yu. In terms of the Tao of the Soul, he should be able to easily crush Ning Yu. Not necessarily. Some quasi-emperors objected. To be able to face a rank 5 quasi-emperor head-on and gain the upper hand, Ning Yu is not a hothead. In my opinion, Ning Yu is completely capable of defeating Chen Feng's soul power. That's right. Chen Feng's defeat is only a matter of time. Next, it will depend on whether Prince Yang Qian has a way to deal with Ning Yu. Haha, Ning Yu can even defeat Chen Feng. Why would he be afraid of Prince Yang Qian? There were 2 factions. One supported Ning Yu and the other supported Chen Feng. After all, the position of Crown Prince would appear between Yang Yuming and Yang Qian. Although it was risky to choose a side now, the benefits were also greater. After all, adding flowers to embroidery was not as good as providing timely help. Poochie. While the crowd was still discussing, the clash in the air had already begun. Chen Feng's soul power surged out, wanting to defeat Ning Yu with lightning speed. Who would have thought Ning Yu's soul power had a terrifying defensive power? For a moment, Chen Feng was unable to break through Ning Yu's soul power defensive barrier. Whoosh! On the other hand, Ning Yu, as he constructed his soul power defensive barrier, he secretly separated a wisp of soul power and tore through the void, arriving in front of Chen Feng's physical body. Poochie! This wisp of soul power was Ning Yu's origin soul power. Ordinary soul power was far from enough to control a rank 5 quasi-emperor like Chen Feng. He needed origin soul power to have a chance of success. After all, no one knew if Chen Feng had any backup plans. If Ningyu ambushed him, there was a chance that he would succeed or fail. But this time, Ningyu's worries were superfluous. In order to defeat Ningyu, Chen Feng unleashed all the soul power in his body, not holding anything back. Without any soul power, how could Chen Feng block Ningyu's soul power attack with just his physical body? Ah! A miserable shriek rang out. Ningyu's origin soul power entered Chen Feng's mind, completely taking over his body. Ningyu was ruthless. Chapter 25:52 Battle. After the connection with his physical body was severed, Chen Feng's soul power became extremely fearful. This feeling made him extremely flustered. If he could not return his soul power to his physical body within the specified time, then his soul power would become a lonely soul. As for the soul power that had become a lonely soul, it couldn't exist for a long time. Unless he could find a new host or a treasure that could preserve his soul power, the lonely soul would automatically dissipate. What about you? Ningyu rolled his eyes and said to Chen Feng's soul, "You have two choices now. First, submit to me. Second, I will destroy your soul power." Originally, Ningyu could only defend against Chen Feng's soul attack, and could not destroy his soul power. But now his origin soul power had severed the connection between Chen Feng's soul and physical body, causing the might of Chen Feng's soul power to decrease greatly. After descending, Ningyu could completely destroy the soul body. Damn it! Chen Feng cursed in his heart. He had no choice but to seriously consider this. Actually, Chen Feng wanted to inform Yang Qian to admit defeat on his behalf. Unfortunately, his soul power was firmly sealed by Ningyu, so he could not send any information to the outside world. Unless a sovereign emperor or a high-level quasi-emperor appeared, even a rank 6 quasi-emperor would not know his current situation. "Have you thought about it?" Ningyu asked indifferently 3 minutes later. "Yes, I choose to submit." Chen Feng gritted his teeth and decided to submit to Ningyu first. Once his soul power returned to his physical body, he would then tangle with Ningyu. He believed that as long as his soul force fused with his physical body, he would have the capital to fight against Ningyu. After all, he still had many trump cards that he had not used. Enter the red demon sword. Ningyu suddenly tossed out the red demon sword. Swish. Chen Feng did not hesitate. His soul power turned into a blur and entered the red demon sword. "I admit defeat," the distant Chen Feng said the moment Chen Feng's soul entered the red demon sword. Without a doubt, it was Ningyu's soul force that was controlling Chen Feng to speak. Voila! Chen Feng's admission of defeat caused a huge uproar in the crowd. Ningyu had actually defeated Chen Feng, a rank 5 quasi-emperor. Good stuff. As soon as Chen Feng admitted defeat, Ning Lu revealed an ecstatic expression. Others might not know, but Ning Lu was very clear about it. Chen Feng's soul power was currently trapped within the red demon sword. Ning Lu was burning with anxiety. He wanted to enter the red demon sword to swallow Chen Feng's soul energy and refine the essence blood of a high-ranked quasi-emperor. He was different from Ningyu. Ningyu could refine the blood essence of a high-level quasi-emperor here to break through to mid-third rank 4 quasi-emperor, but he and Ao Xing could not. There was no other reason. Ao Xing was a true dragon, and he was the world tree. If he refined the essence blood of a high-ranked quasi-emperor here, he might expose his identity. 25th Prince, it's your turn. Ningyu did not care about Chen Feng. He turned to look at Yang Qian and said indifferently, "According to what you said before, as long as I can defeat you, the position of Crown Prince will be the 5th Prince's." That's right. Yang Qian gritted his teeth. This was the pit that he dug. No matter what, he had to fill it up. Taking a deep breath, Yang Qian secretly encouraged himself. He was an early 3rd rank 4 quasi-emperor, while Ningyu was a mid-3rd rank 4 quasi-emperor. In terms of cultivation, He was a minor level lower than Ningyu. Furthermore, he still had some trump cards. Ningyu had just experienced a huge battle, so he might have a way to defeat Ningyu. You are a prince, I'll let you make the first move, Ningyu said with a smile when he saw that Yang Qian did not renege on his words. Okay. Yang Qian stomped his feet and his body shot out. The first move. Yang Qian did not hold back and used his full strength. Yang Qian was very clear. This might be his only chance. Since Ningyu was passively defending, he could only use his full strength to see if he could defeat Ningyu when Ningyu was careless. Otherwise, if Ningyu took the initiative to attack, his chances of winning would be very slim. His strength is not bad. Ningyu did not panic too much when he saw Yang Qian charging at him. To be honest, Yang Qian's strength was only so. Perhaps he could defeat an ordinary mid-third rank 4 quasi-emperor, but Ningyu was not the same as an ordinary mid-third rank 4 quasi-emperor. Given his current strength, he could probably defeat more than 10 mid-third rank 4 quasi-emperors at the same time. Bang! In an instant, Yang Qian's fist arrived in front of Ningyu and directly landed on Ningyu's chest. Along with a clear and melodious sound rang out. Ningyu did not move from his original position. On the other hand, Yang Qian was like a kite with a broken string, falling straight to the ground. Bang! The sound of flesh hitting the ground could be heard. Immediately, Yang Qian spat out a mouthful of blood, and his aura dropped from the early third rank 4 quasi-emperor realm to that of a rank 1 quasi-emperor realm. Moreover, it was still descending. Not long after, Yang Qian's aura dropped to the heaven-receiving realm. I lost. Yang Qian stood up with difficulty, wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth, and said to Yang Yiming, "The position of crown prince belongs to you." After saying this, Yang Qian left without looking back, disappearing from everyone's sight. Sha sha sha. Yang Qian's front foot had just disappeared when Yang Zhaokai took a step forward and said in a clear voice, "I want to spar with Yang Yiming again. Just now, I was on the verge of breaking through and was unable to unleash my full strength." Boom! Yang Zhaokai's words caused a commotion among the crowd. Originally, everyone was prepared to be on good terms with Yang Yiming. Even those forces that had sided with Yang Zhaokai wanted to switch to Yang Yiming. But now, Yang Zhaokai came out and interfered, catching everyone off guard. Swish! In an instant, the surrounding martial artists shifted their gazes to midair. Whether Yang Zhaokai could spar with Yang Yiming depended on the emperor. The emperor's opinion was very important. If the emperor approved Yang Zhaokai's request, then the position of crown prince would be more inclined to Yang Zhaokai. But if the emperor rejected Yang Zhaokai's request, then Yang Yiming would be the crown prince. In midair, the emperor supported his chin with both hands, in a contemplative manner. According to the emperor's thoughts, he was more inclined to let Yang Zhaokai be the crown prince, because he had enmity with the forces on Yang Yiming's mother's side. However, the position of crown prince was of great importance. In another day, the Sacred Mountains Assembly would be held. At that time, the forces of the 100 Forest Domain, big and small, would send their geniuses over. The Divine Wind Empire's quota would be obtained by the crown prince. The emperor could see it. If it was a life-and-death battle, Yang Zhaokai was much stronger than Yang Yiming. The reason why Yang Zhaokai was defeated was because of his carelessness, and because Yang Yiming gave up a high-level quasi-emperor talisman. High-level quasi-emperor talismans were extremely precious. It was not that Yang Yiming was too strong, but that he was more willing to give up something. After pondering for a moment, the emperor said in a clear voice, "Let's do it this way. Yang Yiming and Yang Zhaokai will spar. The winner will be the crown prince and the loser at this point." The emperor paused for a moment. Chapter 2553. Chapter 2553. Chapter 2553 Cruel. Divine Wind Pool. Hearing the emperor mention the Divine Wind Pool, the expressions of the surrounding cultivators changed. The Divine Wind Pool was the most mysterious place in the Divine Wind Empire. All the martial artists who went in to cultivate, without exception, were able to increase their cultivation by 1 level. Of course, it was limited to those below rank 5 Quasi-Emperor. In other words, a rank 1 Quasi-Emperor could raise their cultivation to rank 2 Quasi-Emperor after cultivating for a day. Rank 2 Quasi-Emperor could raise their cultivation to rank 3 Quasi-Emperor, and rank 3 Quasi-Emperor could raise their cultivation to rank 4 Quasi-Emperor. As for rank 4 Quasi-Emperor, they could only raise their cultivation to peak rank 4 Quasi-Emperor, and not rank 5 Quasi-Emperor. But even so, it was enough to make everyone envious. Yang Yuming and Yang Zhaokai were both peak rank 2 Quasi-Emperors. Even if they lost, they could still advance to rank 3 Quasi-Emperor. Emperor, I don't think this is appropriate. Ningyu looked at Yang Yuming, then at the confident Yang Zhaokai. He took a step forward and said, "The 5th prince has already fought twice in a short period of time. He defeated the 18th prince and lost to the 25th prince. Under such circumstances, the chances of him winning against the 18th prince will be very slim," Jian Wushuang said. The emperor raised his eyebrows. He looked at Ningyu with interest and asked, "In your opinion, what should we do?" "It's simple. I will spar with Qin He." Ningyu was neither servile nor overbearing. Strictly speaking, Ningyu really did not want to face the emperor head-on. After all, the emperor was a high-level quasi-emperor. If he paid attention to him, he might discover some of his secret. But now it was a matter of life and death. Yang Yuming would lose without a doubt if he sparred with Yang Zhaokai. Once Yang Zhaokai became the crown prince, he would definitely invite him to the 18th prince's residence as a guest. Although it was a guest, it was actually a hongmen banquet. What do you think? The emperor did not answer Ningyu directly. He turned to look at Yang Zhaokai and asked. Yang Zhaokai's heart skipped a beat. However, he maintained his composure and said, "I don't mind. Qin He also wants to exchange pointers with Ningyu. Why don't we let Qin He and Ningyu fight?" Yang Zhaokai's lungs were about to explode. If Qin He and Ningyu were to exchange pointers, some unforeseen events might occur. However, the current situation did not allow Yang Zhaokai to have any opinions. There were so many princes and quasi-emperors around. If he dared to forcefully exchange pointers with Yang Yuming, those princes would probably join forces to deal with him. All right, the next battle will be between Qin He and Ningyu. The imperial monarch waved his hand, and then he tore open space and entered it. Everyone could see that. Before the sovereign emperor left, his expression was a little cold. "I'm afraid the emperor's choice of crown prince is the 18th prince, Yang Zhaokai. Isn't that obvious? If the 5th prince, Yang Yuming, wishes to defy the heavens and change his fate, he will have to see if the emperor agrees to it. Let's just wait and watch the show. Whoever wins the position of crown prince, we will submit to him." That's right. Everyone discussed animatedly. This was the reality. If Ningyu defeated Qin He, then Yang Yuming would be the crown prince, and everyone would definitely choose to curry favor with Yang Yuming. If Qin He defeated Ningyu, then Yang Zhaokai would be the crown prince, and everyone would definitely choose to curry favor with Yang Zhaokai. "Ningyu, I've already swallowed the tyrant dragon elixir. Surrender." Qin He placed his hands behind his back, looked at Ningyu, and said indifferently, "With my current strength, I can even easily defeat a rank 5 quasi-emperor. You are not a match for me. We haven't even exchanged blows, and you are already so sure that I am not a match for you?" Ningyu glanced at Qin He, his expression calm. To be honest, Qin He had swallowed the tyrant dragon elixir, and his strength had indeed increased a lot. However, this was not enough to make Ningyu afraid. After all, the tyrant dragon elixir had a time limit. 3 minutes. At most 3 minutes, the effects of the tyrant dragon elixir would fade. At that time, how could Qin He fight with him? Of course. Qin He shouted in a low voice, then rose from the ground. His fist carried a violent energy wave as it smashed toward Ningyu's head. The might of this punch was terrifyingly strong. An ordinary peak rank 4 quasi-emperor would not be able to block it. After swallowing the tyrant dragon elixir, Qin He's strength had more than doubled. When he attacked with his full strength, even a rank 5 quasi-emperor would have to avoid him. Chop! Ningyu's pupils constricted, and the red demon's sword in his hand slashed through the air. Whoosh! In an instant, several sword lights flew out, surrounding Qin He from all directions. Crack! Crack! However, the might of Qin He's fist was very terrifying. The moment it came into contact with the sword lights, it shattered them. Interesting. Qin He raised his eyebrows and looked at Ningyu. I did not expect your strength to increase so quickly. It seems like I have to teach you a lesson today. Otherwise, if I let you continue to grow, the consequences will be dire. In Qin He's opinion, Ningyu was different from Yang Yuming. When he sparred with Yang Yuming, he definitely could not injure Yang Yuming. However, when he sparred with Ningyu, he could injure Ningyu. In fact, he could even kill Ningyu if he was careless. After all, he knew that the emperor's choice for crown prince was Yang Zhaokai. Even if he killed Ningyu, the emperor would not say anything. You are not weak either, Ningyu said seriously. At the same time, Ningyu continuously poured the energy in his body into the red demon's sword and slashed with it. Whoosh! This time, only one sword light shot out. However, the might of this sword light was more terrifying than the dozens of sword lights combined. Break! Qin He stood where he was and grabbed at the void with his right hand. In an instant, a cold light shot out. The cold light collided with the sword light that Ningyu had slashed out. Crack! Along with a clear and melodious sound rang out. The cold light and the sword light shattered at the same time and dissipated between heaven and earth. 2.5 minutes left. After 2 moves, Ningyu took a step back and calculated the time secretly. The violent dragon elixir only had 3 minutes of effect. Now half a minute had passed. In other words, Qin He's current strength could only last for 2.5 minutes. Once the time passed, Qin He would even show signs of weakness. It seems that I have to use my big move to deal with you. Qin He took a deep breath and looked at Ningyu expressionlessly. He said, You can force me to use my big move. Even if you are defeated by me, you should be proud. Swoosh! Swoosh! As soon as he finished speaking, Qin He suddenly spat out a mouthful of blood. The blood instantly burned in the air. After a while, the blood turned into a cloud of blood mist. Go! Qin He's soul power surged, controlling the cloud of blood mist to attack Ningyu at an extremely terrifying speed. The blood mist was so fast that it almost reached Ningyu in the blink of an eye. Furthermore, when the blood mist arrived in front of Ningyu, it suddenly exploded. Countless tiny blood beads appeared and surrounded Ningyu from all directions. Ningyu, I will ask you for the last time. Surrender or not? Chapter 2554. Chapter 2554. Chapter 2554 Victory. 2 more minutes. Ningyu did not care about Qin He's threat. To him, as long as he could hold on for 2 more minutes, he could easily defeat Qin He. Under such circumstances, no matter how Qin He threatened him, he would not act rashly. After all, if he could defeat Qin He easily, why would he go through so much trouble to fight? If he was injured by Qin He, would he not even have tears to cry? You're courting death. Ningyu's indifferent behavior enraged Qin He. With a thought, he controlled countless tiny blood-colored beads and sent them flying toward Ningyu. Chi! Chi! These tiny beads were very fast, and they approached Ningyu in an instant. Slash! It was a critical moment. Ningyu waved the red devil sword continuously, fighting against these tiny blood-colored beads. Although the blood-colored beads were very powerful, the sword gleam that Ningyu slashed out was also very powerful. About a minute later, The blood-colored beads were all smashed by the sword gleam that Ningyu slashed out and disappeared between heaven and earth. I have underestimated you. Seeing the blood-colored beads dissipate, Qin He's face turned very ugly. He admitted that he had indeed underestimated Ningyu. Originally, he thought that after swallowing the violent dragon elixir, he could easily defeat Ningyu. But now, 2 minutes had passed since the violent dragon elixir took effect, and he still could not defeat Ningyu. In fact, he was at a disadvantage. It had to be said, Ningyu's strength was indeed very powerful. However, Qin He was not particularly worried. After all, the violent dragon elixir was a violent dragon elixir. The moment before the effect of the elixir disappeared, it could erupt with a terrifying energy. The reason why Qin He was so at ease was that he felt that the energy that would erupt later could defeat Ningyu. Tick, tick. Time was ticking away. In the 3rd minute, whether it was Ningyu or Qin He, both of them were paying 100% attention. For Ningyu, as long as he could survive this 1 minute, he would be able to defeat Qin He easily. As for Qin He, as long as he could persist until the end of the 3rd minute, he would be able to unleash his terrifying energy and defeat Ningyu. Die. In the blink of an eye, the 3rd minute passed. A terrifying energy wrapped around Qin He's fist as he threw a backhand punch at Ningyu. On the other hand, Ningyu, unwilling to fall behind, he forcibly swallowed 100 drops of low-grade Great Emperor spiritual liquid and transformed them into energy, which collided with Qin He's attack. The two extremely terrifying energies collided, causing the surrounding void to emit crackling sounds, as if it was about to split open. Fortunately, a high-level quasi-emperor from the Divine Wind Empire stabilized the space. Otherwise, the collision of energy between Ningyu and Qin He would be enough to explode the void and affect the surrounding warriors. Even so, the void still trembled. Some low-level quasi-emperors even prostrated themselves on the ground, unable to even raise their heads. The remaining mid-level quasi-emperors were in a better state. Who won? I'm not sure. In my opinion, it should be Qin He who won. After all, he's a peak rank 4 quasi-emperor. Humph. Ningyu can even defeat a rank 5 quasi-emperor, not to mention a peak rank 4 quasi-emperor. What's the commotion about? When the shockwaves dissipate, we will naturally know who won and who lost. The surrounding warriors' discussion made a mid-level rank 5 quasi-emperor's expression turn ugly. This mid-level rank 5 quasi-emperor was called Zhao Shui, and he was quite close to Yang Zhaokai. For some reason, Zhao Shui had a feeling that Qin He would be defeated, and this feeling became more and more obvious as the surrounding shockwaves dissipated. Whoosh! After a while, the shockwaves dissipated. Zhao Shui's expression turned extremely unsightly when he saw the figure still standing where he was. Ningyu. The warrior standing was not Qin He, but Ningyu. As for Qin He, he was lying on the ground like a dead dog, his aura weak. How dare you? Zhao Shui first stared at Qin He, then his gaze landed on Ningyu, and he said viciously, "You guys were just exchanging pointers, and you actually dealt such a heavy blow. Looks like you can't be spared today." Whoosh! As he spoke, Zhao Shui's feet stomped on the ground, his body speeding out. Not good. Seeing Zhao Shui attack, Ning Lu and Ao Xing's expressions changed slightly. Ningyu had just experienced a great battle, and the energy in his body was practically exhausted. How could he be a match for a mid-level rank 5 quasi-emperor at this time? The two of them blocked in front of Ningyu, one on the left and one on the right. Each of them punched out, colliding with Zhao Shui's fist. Bang! Bang! After 2 punches, Zhao Shui's heart trembled, and he hurriedly retreated. One-on-one, perhaps Zhao Shui could easily defeat Ning Lu and Ao Xing. But, 1 against 2, he had no way of winning in a short time. According to the Emperor's words, if Ningyu defeated Qin He, Yang Yuming would be the crown prince. At this time, if he lost the chance to kill Ningyu, he could not make another move. After all, he already felt the aura of a few rank 6 quasi-emperors locked onto him. Yang Yuming was the crown prince. There would definitely be rank 6 quasi-emperors seeking refuge with him. I'll remember. Ningyu swept a glance at Zhao Shui and said to himself. Just a mid-level rank 5 quasi-emperor. As long as he had some time, when his cultivation advanced to late-level rank 3 quasi-emperor, he naturally would not fear Zhao Shui. Buzz. Right at this time, the void trembled and the emperor appeared. The emperor's expression was calm, not showing any joy or anger. He said, Yang Yuming is the crown prince. Yang Zhaokai can go to the divine wind pool to cultivate for a day. Next, Yang Yuming will follow me to meet a few people. Whoosh! The emperor did not stay here for long. He leaped up, speeding into the distance. Halfway through the flight, the emperor seemed to have received some kind of message. He stopped in midair, turned back to look at Yang Yuming, and said, Bring your aides along. Yes. Yang Yuming responded and hurried to Ningyu's side, saying, Many thanks. It's fine. Ningyu waved his hand and said, Do you know what the emperor wants you to do? The Divine Wind Empire has a total of 2 divine wind pools. Yang Yuming lowered his voice and said, The divine wind pool that Yang Zhaokai went to is the outer pool. The effect of cultivating there is not very good. We should go to the inner pool. Cultivating in the inner pool for an hour is more effective than cultivating in the outer pool for a day. Outer pool, inner pool. Ningyu frowned slightly. This was the first time he heard that the divine wind pool had an outer pool and an inner pool. Shaking his head, Ningyu did not think too much about it. The inner pool and outer pool should only be open to the princes and crown princes. He, Ninglu, and the rest would probably not be able to enter. Let's go. Don't let the emperor wait too long. Yang Yuming's figure flashed, and he followed the emperor. Ningyu, Ao Xing, and the rest hesitated slightly, then followed behind Yang Yuming and disappeared. Crack! After Ningyu and the others disappeared, Yang Zhaokai clenched his fists, making cracking sounds. A cold look appeared on his face. Let's wait and see. Yang Zhaokai's expression was cold. In his heart, he had already sentenced Ningyu, Yang Yuming, and the others to death. Chapter 2555. People from the Sacred Mountain at the edge of the Divine Wind Pool. The emperor pointed to the pool in front of him and said calmly, This is the Divine Wind Pool. You can cultivate in it for 2 hours. Come and see me at the Divine Wind Hall after 2 hours. Swoosh! As soon as he finished speaking, the Empyrean Emperor's figure flashed, and he disappeared into the void. Let's go! As soon as the Emperor disappeared, Yang Yuming leaped into the Divine Wind Pool. Splash! After Yang Yuming jumped into the pool, Ningyu could clearly see the pool water around him entering his body. The effect is indeed not bad. Ningyu nodded lightly. At this rate, Yang Yuming would be able to reach the peak of the 3rd-tier quasi-emperor realm in less than 2 hours. The Divine Wind Pool was indeed worthy of its reputation. Let's go too. Ningyu did not hesitate for long, and he also jumped into the Divine Wind Pool. Beside him, Ao Xing and Ning Lu also followed closely behind Ningyu and entered the Divine Wind Pool. As soon as they entered the Divine Wind Pool, Ningyu felt a large amount of energy entering his body through his pores. This energy was extremely pure, so pure that it was terrifying. I wonder if I can absorb them into the Red Demon Sword. With a thought, Ningyu began to control this energy and quietly transfer it to the Red Demon Sword. There's a chance. Suddenly, Ningyu's heart leaped with joy. Without a doubt, in the Divine Wind Pool, apart from the 4 of them, no other magic treasures could absorb energy. However, the energy could be transferred to the magic treasures after passing through their bodies. This also prevented a situation where a large amount of energy was wasted. After all, maintaining the Divine Wind Pool required a lot of resources. I'd better make a breakthrough first. Ningyu did not continue to transfer energy to the red demon sword. He took a deep breath and began to absorb energy to cultivate. The higher his cultivation, the faster he could absorb energy. It was clearly unwise to waste time on the red demon sword now. At this time, he had to focus on cultivation. It would be much faster to absorb the energy after breaking through to the next realm. Drip, drip. Time was ticking away. Ningyu and the others could stay in the divine wind pool for 2 hours. In the blink of an eye, half an hour had passed. Boom! A terrifying aura suddenly emerged from Ningyu's body. Late 3rd rank Quasi-Emperor. In half an hour, Ningyu broke through to the late 3rd order Quasi-Emperor realm. On the other hand, Yang Yuming had advanced from the peak of the 2nd rank to the middle of the 3rd rank. As for Ao Xing and Ning Lu, they were still at the peak of rank 3 Quasi-Emperor, and had not advanced to rank 4 Quasi-Emperor. Time was still passing. When it was the 2nd hour, Yang Yuming's breakthrough speed had clearly slowed down, and he had only advanced to late 3rd order Quasi-Emperor. Ao Xing and Ning Lu were still peak rank 3 Quasi-Emperors. Ningyu's cultivation had reached peak late 3rd rank Quasi-Emperor, but there was still some distance to go before he could become a peak late 3rd rank Quasi-Emperor. The higher the level, the harder it was to advance. Rumble. Time flew. When there were only 10 minutes left before the 2 hours were up, 4 terrifying auras were emitted from Ningyu and the other 3. Yang Yuming had advanced to the peak of the 3rd rank Quasi-Emperor. Ning Lu and Ao Xing had advanced to the early 4th rank Quasi-Emperor. Ningyu had also advanced to the peak of the 3rd rank Quasi-Emperor. In the remaining 10 minutes, Yang Yuming and the others did not continue to cultivate but chose to stabilize their cultivation. After all, their cultivation had increased so much in such a short time. There would definitely be a situation where it was superficial. The last 10 minutes could be used to stabilize their cultivation to prevent qi deviation. Compared to the others, Ningyu did not need to stabilize his cultivation. He used the last 10 minutes to frantically devour energy. At the very least, he could store the energy in the red demon sword. On one hand, it could help the red demon sword to refine it, and on the other hand, it could be used as a backup plan. After advancing to the peak of the 3rd rank Quasi-Emperor, Ningyu's strength had a qualitative leap. Originally, he could barely win against an early 5th rank Quasi-Emperor if he used all his trump cards. But now, if he encountered an early 5th rank Quasi-Emperor again, he only needed to use his martial strength to crush him easily. During this time, Ningyu did not cultivate the God of War transformation or the Great Tao of Devouring. After all, time was limited. If he could stay in the Divine Wind Pond for another day, Ningyu would definitely cultivate the God of War transformation and the Great Tao of Devouring. The last 10 minutes passed very quickly. Time's up. After 10 minutes, a deep voice rang in Ningyu and the others' ears. Following that, Ningyu and the others felt their bodies lighten, and they left the Divine Wind Pond and arrived at the edge. High-tier Quasi-Emperor. Ningyu had a grave expression. He could clearly sense that the cultivator who moved him out of the Divine Wind Pond was at least a 7th rank Quasi-Emperor. Let's go to the Divine Wind Palace. After 2 hours of cultivation, Yang Yuming felt as if he had become a whole new person. Not only had his cultivation reached the peak of the 3rd rank Quasi-Emperor, but even his aura had changed. It was as if Yang Yuming had experienced many things. Ningyu did not ask anything. Everyone had a trump card. If Yang Yuming did not say anything, he would not ask. At the same time, inside the Divine Wind Palace, the Emperor sat at the head of the table, and to his left sat 3 young cultivators. These 3 young cultivators all had terrifying cultivation, and each of them was a 6th rank Quasi-Emperor. As for the Emperor's right, there were also 3 young cultivators. Relatively speaking, the young cultivator on the Emperor's right was much weaker than the one on the left, and his cultivation was only at the peak of the 5th rank Quasi-Emperor. At this moment, a young cultivator dressed in white on the left looked at the Emperor and said, "Divine Wind Emperor, these 3 cultivators have exceeded the age limit. I'm afraid it's not appropriate for them to participate in the Holy Mountain Conference. Moreover, the Emperor only gave 1 quota, haha, I know about the quota." The Emperor smiled and waved his hand. "The 3 of them will not participate in the Holy Mountain Conference, but will escort the Crown Prince along the way. Could it be that the Emperor does not trust us?" The white-robed cultivator's expression changed, and he asked in a low voice, "It's not that I don't trust you, but it's customary." The Emperor said calmly. Even though the Emperor had the cultivation of a high-level quasi-emperor, he did not dare to force these 3 young cultivators. Because they came from the Holy Mountain, and the Holy Mountain was a super-force with a great emperor ruling over the 100-forest domain. Even if the Emperor was given 10 guts, he would not dare to be disrespectful to the people of the Holy Mountain. Unless he could take the final step. Of course, he was only a high-level quasi-emperor now, and there was a huge gap between him and the final step. Since the Emperor has decided, it's not our place to say anything. Chapter 2556. Chapter 2556. Chapter 2556 Ruthless. Oh! The Emperor raised his eyebrows and asked in confusion, "Why are you bringing them away? Could they be related to the Holy Mountain?" "Divine Wind Emperor," the cultivator in black said seriously, "this concerns the internal affairs of the Holy Mountain. I hope the Emperor will not get involved." "I was just asking casually," the Emperor said with a shrug. "Oh, right. I will only give you 4 slots this time. Aside from His Highness the Crown Prince, I will also let him bring 3 followers. Let's make it these 3 peak rank 5 quasi-emperors." The cultivator in black looked at the 3 peak rank 5 quasi-emperors opposite him and said indifferently. However, as soon as the cultivator in black finished speaking on the Holy Mountain's side, the last young cultivator in blue said, "There's no need. Let Ning Yu and the others go. The slots for the Holy Mountain Conference are limited. Even if they are followers, they cannot be brought casually." Swish! The Emperor's expression changed slightly when he heard the cultivator in blue's words. He arranged for 3 peak rank 5 quasi-emperors to go with Yang Yuming. Not only could they keep an eye on Yang Yuming, but they could also help him gather information about the Holy Mountain. However, the blue-clothed martialist's decision had disrupted his plans to a certain extent. At this moment, 4 figures appeared in front of the Divine Wind Palace. "Come in." The Emperor's face lit up when he saw the 4 cultivators suddenly appear. Then, he said calmly, "These are the outstanding talents of the Holy Mountain. Go and greet them." The cultivator in blue frowned slightly. To be honest, the Emperor's behavior was somewhat abnormal. There must be a reason for this abnormality. If they did not give up more slots today, there would be some trouble. These Holy Mountain envoys did indeed have many slots. However, it was hard to appease everyone. You want me to give up more slots, and he wants me to give up more slots. Even if there were many slots, they could not afford to go through so much trouble. The cultivator in blue did not reveal anything on the surface even though he thought so. At most, 1 slot. The cultivator in blue looked at the 3 peak rank 5 quasi-emperors opposite him and thought to himself. Giving up 1 slot, together with Ning Yu and the other 2, and Yang Yuming, that would be 5 slots. Wasting 5 spots on a country like the Divine Wind Empire was indeed not worth it. However, when the blue-clad cultivator thought about the additional rewards for bringing Ning Yu and the others back to the Holy Mountain, he felt relieved. "Greetings, envoy of the Sacred Mountain," Yang Yuming said, as if he was very familiar with her. "You!" The blue-clothed martial artist did not pay attention to Yang Yuming at first. After all, Yang Yuming was just a crown prince of the Divine Wind Empire. However, for some reason, he found something unusual about Yang Yuming. Yang Yuming's temperament was very similar to a person, very similar. Although that person was a woman, their temperament was not much different. How about this? The sovereign emperor did not notice the change in the blue-clad cultivator's expression. After thinking for a while, he said, "The matter of the slots is very important. In my opinion, let Ning Yu and the others exchange pointers with these rank 5 quasi-emperors. Whoever wins will go to the Holy Mountain." The sovereign emperor had deliberately concealed his peak rank 5 quasi-emperor cultivation, only saying that he was a rank 5 quasi-emperor. Ever since Ning Yu and the others came out of closed-door seclusion, the sovereign emperor determined Ning Yu and the others' cultivation. Peak rank 3 quasi-emperor and rank 4 quasi-emperor. Ning Yu was a peak rank 3 quasi-emperor. Ning Lu and Ao Xing were rank 4 quasi-emperors. With this cultivation, the chances of winning against a peak rank 5 quasi-emperor were practically zero. He said this in order to create a false impression for Ning Yu and prevent Ning Yu from being unwilling to exchange pointers. "Sovereign Emperor, this is not too appropriate, right?" The blue-clad cultivator's expression changed slightly. The sovereign emperor was clearly giving him a difficult problem by doing this. Exchange pointers? What a joke! Even if he believed in the emperor's selection criteria, how could these rank 3 and rank 4 quasi-emperors possibly win against a peak rank 5 quasi-emperor? There's nothing inappropriate about it. Let's ask Ning Yu and the others for their opinion first. The sovereign emperor smiled faintly and looked at Ning Yu, asking, "What do you think?" "The Holy Mountain slot is of great importance. Anyone who can go to the Holy Mountain will advance rapidly in cultivation. As long as you can defeat these rank 5 quasi-emperors, you can go to the Holy Mountain." "Do you think I'm a fool?" Ning Yu did not reply immediately. Instead, he inwardly slandered the sovereign emperor. A peak rank 5 quasi-emperor was extremely powerful. Even if he advanced to peak rank 3 quasi-emperor, his chances of winning against a peak rank 5 quasi-emperor were not high. Unless he could improve further and reach the half-step rank 4 quasi-emperor realm. Glancing at Ao Xing and Ning Lu, Ning Yu felt that they were about the same as him and should not be able to defeat a peak rank 5 quasi-emperor. At this thought, Ning Yu said, "Sovereign Emperor, our strength is low. I'm only a peak rank 3 quasi-emperor, hear this." The sovereign emperor interrupted Ning Yu and casually tossed out 3 blood-red fruit. Swish, swish, swish. Ning Yu, Ning Lu, and Ao Xing each caught a blood-red fruit. A peak early-stage emperor fruit. Looking at the blood-red fruit in his hand, Ning Yu was finally moved. In order to scheme against him, the sovereign emperor had gone to great lengths and even took out a peak early-stage emperor fruit. "You can refine this fruit here. It won't be too late to spar after you're done," the sovereign emperor said. "Then we won't refuse." Ning Yu sat down cross-legged and tossed the fruit into his mouth. Beside him, Ning Lu and Ao Xing did the same. They tossed the fruit into their mouths and began to cultivate. Interesting. The cultivator in blue looked at Ning Yu and the corners of his mouth curled up slightly. He muttered, "The person that the emperor values is indeed extraordinary. I wonder how strong he is." Ao Xing was a true dragon, and Ning Lu was a world tree. The cultivator in blue had heard this news from his elder brother. As for Ning Yu, he was an ordinary person. Ao Xing and Ning Lu had to be brought to the Holy Mountain because they were very important, but Ning Yu, an ordinary person, was singled out by the emperor. This was enough to show that Ning Yu was not ordinary. Among the 3 cultivators, the cultivator in white was called Xie Jia, the cultivator in black was called Xie Hu, and the cultivator in blue was called Zhou Jiahao. All 3 of them were early-stage rank 6 quasi-emperors. Zhou Jiahao's status was clearly much higher than Xie Jia and Xie Hu. Zhou Jiahao, the higher-up, said that we must bring Ning Yu and the others back to the Holy Mountain no matter what. Xie Jia lowered his voice and said, "Ning Yu will definitely lose against those peak rank 5 quasi-emperors. The Divine Wind Emperor is determined to make us give 3 more spots. In my opinion, we should just bring Ning Yu and the others away. It's fine, it's just 3 spots. Moreover, I feel that Ning Yu is not simple. Zhou Jiahao waved his hand. Not simple? Xie Jia and Xie, who were slightly taken aback. Then, their gazes fell on Ning Yu. Hiss. With one look, the two of them sucked in a breath of cold air, and their expressions turned grave. Chapter 2557. Chapter 2557. Chapter 2557. No objection. After obtaining the 5 Emperor-grade medicinal pills from the lame old man, Ning Yu now had a total of 7 Emperor-grade medicinal pills. After swallowing 3, he still had 4 Emperor-grade medicinal pills on him. There were 3 Holy Mountain Heaven's Prides and the Emperor in the Divine Wind Hall. Ning Yu could completely rest assured and cultivate here without worrying about being disturbed by others. After all, the Emperor wanted him to spar with those rank 5 quasi-emperors, so he definitely would not play petty tricks. The facts prove. The Emperor indeed did not play petty trick. In fact, the medicinal pills that the Emperor gave Ning Yu and the others were the most effective medicinal pills of the same grade, in order to let Ning Yu and the others advance as soon as possible. About half an hour passed. Boom! A terrifying aura was first emitted from Ning Yu's body. Early rank 4 quasi-emperor. After refining 3 Emperor-grade medicinal pills and a peak early Emperor-grade fruit, Ning Yu's cultivation directly broke through to rank 4 quasi-emperor. Boom! Boom! Ao Xing and Ning Lu followed closely behind Ning Yu. Both of them were intermediate rank 4 quasi-emperors. Can we spar now? Seeing Ning Yu and the others breaking through, the Emperor asked eagerly. Yes. Ning Yu nodded and said, 3 against 3 or 1 against 1. The Emperor did not expect Ning Yu to be so calm, and for a moment, he was somewhat stunned. However, the Emperor was a high-level quasi-emperor after all. After a brief daze, he quickly reacted and said, 1 against 1. 3 against 3, there may be accident. I have no objection, Ao Xing said. I have no objection either. Ning Lu shrugged. Advancing to rank 4 quasi-emperor, Ning Lu and Ao Xing no longer feared peak rank 5 quasi-emperors. Whether it was 3 against 3 or 1 against 1, they could easily win. The first battle, let Long San fight Ao Xing. The Emperor regained his composure and pointed to a stern-looking young man below. Long San, spar. Don't overdo it. Yes. Long San stood up, cupped his hands towards Ao Xing, and then rushed out like a sharp sword. I can't believe it. Long San's sudden attack caught Ao Xing somewhat off guard. However, that was all. Ao Xing's right hand clenched into a fist and collided with Long San's fist. Bang! The 2 fists collided. Long San and Ao Xing retreated several steps at the same time. Just from the distance they retreated, Long San and Ao Xing were evenly matched in this strike. Neither could do anything to the other. This sort of situation had obviously exceeded the Emperor's expectations. Originally, he thought that if Long San made a move, dealing with the mid-4th order Ao Xing, he would probably be able to defeat him in one move. But now, it looked like Long San did not gain the upper hand in the first move. Interesting. The corners of the Emperor's mouth curled up in disdain. Although Long San didn't gain any advantage in his first move, he wasn't worried at all. After all, Ao Xing was temporarily unable to make up for the difference in cultivation. A peak rank 5 quasi-emperor and a middle rank 4 quasi-emperor. It would be very difficult for Ao Xing to win if this continued. Rumble. The battle continued. The battle between Ao Xing and Long San was full of highlights. After his cultivation recovered to middle rank 4 quasi-emperor, Ao Xing could already use some trump cards. How powerful was Ao Xing after using his trump cards? Strictly speaking, if it was really a life-and-death battle, Ao Xing only needed 1 minute to kill Long San domineeringly. However, before Ao Xing and Long San exchanged pointers, Ningyu quietly told him not to end the battle too quickly. There was no other reason. Since the Emperor thought of such a method, it showed that he very much wanted Long San and the rest to go to the Holy Mountain to participate in that whatever Holy Mountain conference. And looking at the intentions of those three martial artists, it seemed like they did not intend to let Long San and the rest go. All in all, it was more chaotic. Under such circumstances, it was best to appear evenly matched and defeat Long San with a difference of one move. Ao Xing did this and accomplished it. After fighting with Long San for a full 10 minutes, Ao Xing finally caught hold of Long San's flaw and sent him flying backward. Damn it! Ningyu clearly noticed. When Long San was defeated, the Emperor clenched his fists tightly, his expression extremely unsightly. Although the Emperor quickly returned to normal, Ningyu's sharp perception still caught it. I have to leave the Divine Wind Empire as soon as possible. Ningyu secretly made up his mind. Before his cultivation broke through to high-level Quasi-Emperor, no matter what, he could not return to the Divine Wind Empire. This time, he had helped Yang Yiming obtain the Crown Prince position and gained many benefits. In the 2 hours of cultivation in the Divine Wind Pool, not only did his cultivation rise to peak rank 3 Quasi-Emperor, but he also absorbed a large amount of energy and stored it in the Red Demon Sword. As for Ao Xing and Ning Lu, they also gained many benefits, and their cultivation rose to early rank 4 Quasi-Emperor. What was more exaggerated was that they also swallowed and refined the fruit given by the Emperor, and their cultivation improved further. He advanced to early rank 4 Quasi-Emperor, while Ning Lu and Ao Xing advanced to middle rank 4 Quasi-Emperor. Ao Xing wins. Zhou Jiahao casually glanced at the Emperor and said indifferently, "In the second match, let Long Air and Ning Yu exchange pointers." In truth, Zhou Jiahao's arrangement was to help Ning Yu. After all, the difference in strength between Long De and Long Air was quite big. Long Air was a peak rank 5 Quasi-Emperor, while Long De was comparable to an ordinary half-step rank 6 Quasi-Emperor. Of course, it was not that Long Da's cultivation had reached half-step rank 6 Quasi-Emperor, but that he had some items on him that could let him burst out with the strength of a half-step rank 6 Quasi-Emperor. In the second match, let Long Air and Ning Lu exchange pointers. The Emperor naturally had to stop Zhou Jiahao's arrangement. From the exchange between Ao Xing and Long San, the Emperor had already figured out some things. Ao Xing and Ning Lu were not to be trifled with. Rather than that, it was better to let Long Air and Ning Lu exchange pointers. Even if Long De lost in the end, he would have Long De to back him up. The Emperor did not think that Long De would lose. With the trump cards on Long De, even a half-step rank 6 Quasi-Emperor would not dare to say that they could defeat him. What do you think? Zhou Jiahao's expression changed slightly, and he turned to look at Ning Yu and Ning Lu. Who is the second one? I'll do it. Ning Lu glanced at Long De, then at Ning Yu. Then, he stepped forward and said, I'll spar with Long Air. Ning Lu was clearer than anyone about Ning Yu's strength. Among the three of them, Ao Xing had some trump cards, and his strength might be able to contend with Ning Yu. However, if he really fought to the death, he might not be able to win. It was more conservative to let Ning Yu exchange pointers with Long De. I have no objections. Ning Yu shrugged. Actually, in Ning Yu's heart, whether he sparred with Long De or Long Air, he would definitely win in the end. Chapter 2558. Chapter 2558. Chapter 2558 Punishments. Very well, Long Air, don't fight to the death. The Emperor glanced at Long Air and said indifferently. Although the Emperor Lord said this, his tone did not seem to indicate that he wanted Long E to show mercy. It seemed. Long Air's defeat made him feel suffocated. Swish. The Emperor's voice fell. Long Air rose from the ground and rushed towards Ning Road at an extremely terrifying speed. Long Air was very fast. so fast that Ning Lu did not have time to react before he closed in. Bang! A punch blasted out. Long Air's fist, which contained terrifying energy, could not be avoided and landed on Ning Lu's chest. The huge force directly sent Ning Lu flying back several feet until he hit a stone pillar behind him. Only then did he stabilize his body. This attack. Long Air had the absolute upper hand. Not enough. However, Ning Lu did not care. He raised his eyebrows at Long Air and said, "If you only have this little strength, then I'm afraid it will be difficult to defeat me." Kill. Long Air roared and suddenly dashed out. In the process of advancing, Long Air's body emitted a golden light, and a golden armor appeared all over his body. Emperor armor. The armor that Long Air wore was an early-stage Emperor armor with extremely strong defensive power. Given Long Air's peak rank 5 quasi-Emperor strength, he could already faintly use the power of Emperor armor. Generally speaking, quasi-Emperor experts, even if they had Emperor magic treasures, could not unleash their full power. The Emperor magic treasures that Ningyu seized earlier were completely because the other party could not unleash their full power. Otherwise, he would probably be a cold corpse by now. The Red Demon Sword was now an early-stage Emperor flying sword. According to Ningyu's preliminary estimation, he could only use about 40% of the Red Demon Sword's power. Long Air was a peak rank 5 quasi-Emperor. He might be able to use about 50% of the Emperor armor's power. Go. Facing Emperor armor, Ning Lu was not afraid. A dark green light shot out from his body and arrived in front of Long Air in the blink of an eye, slamming into Long Air's chest. Bang! This time, it was not Ning Lu who was sent flying, but Long Air. Gotcha! As Dragon 2 was wearing an Emperor rank armor, when he collided with the stone pillar was directly smashed into pieces. Could it be? The Emperor frowned slightly when he saw the emerald green light shooting out of Ning Lu's body. He seemed to have guessed something, yet he didn't. Rumble. If it was under normal circumstances, the Celestial Emperor would definitely think about it carefully. After all, the information in his mind was fleeting. However, he was more concerned about the quota to go to the Sacred Mountain. If Long Tu couldn't win, then the final hope would be on Long De. Ever since Long Tu and Ning Lu started exchanging pointers, the Emperor had been paying attention to the changes in Ning Yu's expression. From the beginning to the end, Ning Yu did not show the slightest hint of panic. This shocked the Empyrean Emperor. Could it be that Ning Yu didn't know about Senior Dragon's strength? Or did Ning Yu think that he could defeat Dragon City University easily? Regardless of the situation, it wasn't good news for the Imperial Monarch. Looks like I have to give Senior Dragon City something. The Emperor glanced at Zhou Jiahao, then at Xie Hu and Xie Jia. A high-grade Emperor talisman quietly appeared in his right sleeve. Swish. With a thought, the Emperor forcibly tore the void apart and sent the high-grade Emperor talisman to Senior Dragon City. Huh! The Emperor's action did not completely avoid Zhou Jiahao. Zhou Jiahao raised his eyebrows and looked at the Emperor. He said in a deep voice, "I don't want the Emperor to participate before the outcome of their battle is decided." Haha, no problem. The Emperor smiled faintly, not minding. In any case, he had already given the high-grade Emperor talisman to Senior Dragon City. With a high-grade Emperor talisman, so what if Ning Yu was strong? Could it be Ning Yu also had a high-grade Emperor talisman? What a joke. Every high-grade Emperor talisman was extremely precious and could only be refined after thousands of refinements. An ordinary high-grade Emperor talisman would find it difficult to refine even if they wanted to. Now that Senior Dragon City had a high-grade Emperor talisman, the Emperor felt that he could definitely win a spot. Bang! While the Emperor was still rejoicing over handing the high-grade Emperor talisman to Senior Dragon City, the battle over there had already come to an end. Without a doubt, the winner was Ning Lu. Like Ao Xing, after fighting for a while, Ning Lu seized a flaw of Long Air and defeated it, losing its combat strength. You are indeed strong. The Emperor collected his thoughts and gave Ning Lu a thumbs up. He then turned to look at Senior Dragon City and said in a deep voice, "Don't embarrass the Divine Wind Empire. You can only win this battle, not lose." The Emperor's tone was very heavy. There was no other way. He could not lose again. If he were to lose this battle, then he really wouldn't be able to send anyone to the Sacred Mountain. The other Empire-level forces would all send people to the Holy Mountain. Normally, the Holy Mountain envoys would turn a blind eye because they had the spots. But this time, due to Ning Yu and the others stirring up trouble, it was very likely that the Divine Wind Empire would not get a single spot. This was something that the Emperor could not tolerate no matter what. Yes. Senior Dragon City nodded his head heavily. Subsequently, Senior Dragon City slowly walked to the front of Ningyu, slowly raised his right hand and said, "You are very strong, but I will not hold back." Crack. His voice faded. Senior Dragon City's bones began to change. Moreover, as his bones changed, Senior Dragon City's cultivation also soared rapidly. Bang! 1 second later, a terrifying aura exuded from Senior Dragon City's body. Rank 6 Emperor. At this moment, Senior Dragon City actually broke through the limit, and his cultivation reached rank 6 Emperor realm. My God, my God! Feeling the aura exuding from Senior Dragon City, Ningyu did not say anything, but beside him, Ning Lu and Ao Xing cursed at the same time. Senior Dragon City had such a trump card? He was just a peak rank 5 Emperor just now, and now his bones had some changes, and his cultivation actually broke through to rank 6 Emperor realm. Wasn't the speed of his cultivation a little too fast? The Emperor's means are indeed very high. Zhou Jiahao looked at the Emperor with a cold expression and said in a low voice, "You even gave him such a good thing. Looks like his position in your heart is higher than Crown Prince's." "Hohu, envoy is too serious." The Emperor smiled faintly and said, "That is Senior Dragon City's own fortuitous encounter. I can't very well deprive him of it, right? Alright, enough nonsense. Let's watch the spar between Senior Dragon City and Ningyu. In my opinion, this battle is probably the most exciting one." "Ningyu, do you have any problems?" Zhou Jiahao turned to look at Ningyu and asked. If Senior Dragon City was only a peak rank 5 Emperor, then Zhou Jiahao definitely would not stop him. However, Senior Dragon City advanced to rank 6 Emperor. If he let Ningyu spar with him, the possibility of failure was higher. Failure did not matter. What Zhou Jiahao was worried about was that Ningyu would be injured by Senior Dragon City. Chapter 2559. Chapter 2559. Chapter 2559. Shadow, no problem. Ning Yu's expression was grave. If Longda was only a peak rank 5 quasi-emperor, or even a half-step rank 6 quasi-emperor, he would not be worried. This was because after he advanced to the early rank 4 quasi-emperor, his overall strength was no weaker than an ordinary half-step rank 6 quasi-emperor. However, Long Da's bones changed, and his cultivation rose to the rank 6 quasi-emperor realm. Against a rank 6 quasi-emperor, to be honest, Ningyu did not have absolute confidence. In fact, his chances of victory were less than 50%. After all, the gap between a rank 6 quasi-emperor and a peak rank 5 quasi-emperor was huge. Only when Ningyu advanced to the late rank 4 quasi-emperor realm, or even the peak rank 4 quasi-emperor realm, could he face Longda head-on. Since there's no problem, let's begin. The Emperor Lord was afraid that Ningyu would go back on his word. He waved his hand and said, "Longda, you were a peak rank 5 quasi-emperor before and could go all out. But now that you've advanced to the rank 6 quasi-emperor realm, you must control your strength. Remember not to injure Ningyu." "Understood." Longda nodded. "Please." Turning around, Longda looked at Ningyu and said, "I'll let you make the first move." Swish. Ningyu would not be courteous with Longda. He leaped up and dashed out at a terrifying speed. As he moved forward, he channeled the energy in his body into the red demon's sword and slashed through the air. Whoosh! A huge sword light pierced through the void and arrived before Long De break. Long De clenched his right fist and punched out. Crack! The next moment a crisp sound rang out. Following that, the huge sword light that Ningyu slashed out shattered on the spot and dissipated between heaven and earth. This short exchange ended with Ningyu's complete defeat. Is that all you have? After one move, Long Da's lips curled up slightly. If I had known, I would have used the cultivation of a peak rank 5 quasi-emperor to fight you. Ningyu was not affected by Long Da. He took a deep breath and quietly transferred the energy he had absorbed from the divine wind pond into the red demon sword. He had originally intended to leave this energy for the Dark Emperor and the others to devour. But now, in order to deal with Long Da, he had no choice but to use them in advance. The second move will defeat you. While Ningyu was secretly transferring his energy, Long Da's right hand clenched into a fist and punched out once again. Scorpion Tyrant Fist. Following Long Da's low roar, Lin Yun's expression changed. His fist arrived in front of Ningyu and smashed fiercely at Ningyu's head. On top of Long Da's fist, one could vaguely see a scorpion raising its tail, wanting to drill into Ningyu's head. Retreat. Seeing this, Zhou Jiahao's pupils shrank as he hurriedly said. Not only Zhou Jiahao. Ning Lu and Ao Xing's expressions changed drastically. Anyone with a discerning eye could tell. Long Da did not want to spar with Ningyu. His punch was obviously meant to kill Ningyu. Swish! At the critical moment, Zhou Jiahao leaped up and wanted to stop Long Da. But the Emperor also leaped up and stood in front of Zhou Jiahao. He said indifferently, "We agreed that it was a spar. Why does the Divine Envoy want to intervene?" Divine Wind Emperor, don't make a mistake. To tell you the truth, Ningyu is someone the Great Emperor wants. If he dies here, your Divine Wind Empire will have to pay with your life. Zhou Jiahao said fiercely. He was so angry that the veins all over his body were bulging. If Ningyu was unfortunately killed by Long Da, then he would be in trouble. Humph! You're scaring me. The Emperor snorted coldly and said in a deep voice, "You agreed to the spar between Ningyu and Long Da. Now they are at a critical moment of the spar, and you insist on interfering. Even if the Great Emperor steps in, you can't blame me." The Emperor's attitude might seem firm on the surface. However, he secretly became cautious and even began to transmit his voice to Long Da, asking him to spare Ningyu's life. Go. Ningyu did not pay any attention to the argument between Zhou Jiahao and the Emperor. Not only did he insert all his energy into the red demon sword, he even inserted the great Tao of devouring into it and executed the 4 forms of the divine battle god. Even a lion would use its full strength to capture a rabbit, let alone Long Da, a 6th-tier quasi-emperor. You overestimate yourself. Long Da's lips curled upward as he said sinisterly, a mere 4th-tier quasi-emperor dares to, however. Long Da's words came to an abrupt halt. Crack! A crisp sound could be heard. Following this, a miserable cry like that of a pig being slaughtered came from Long Da's mouth. What? How is this possible? This, the sudden turn of events caused the eyes of the cultivators in the Divine Wind Hall to widen, their faces filled with disbelief. Defeated? The 6th-tier quasi-emperor Long Da had actually lost to the 4th-tier quasi-emperor Ningyu? Long Da has not been defeated yet. The Emperor's face was ashen as he said in a low voice, "If I don't use it now, then when? You forced me to do this." Long Da's expression was cold as he immediately retrieved a talisman from his bosom and tossed it into the air. Swish! However, Ningyu had been guarding against Long Da all along. He had just tossed the talisman into the air when Ningyu rose from the ground. At the same time, he released all his soul power and forcefully severed the connection between Long De and the talisman. Furthermore, Ning Yu opened the red demon sword and absorbed the talisman. Long Da's mouth was agape when he saw Ning Yu accept the high-grade quasi-emperor talisman. He even stuttered. That was a high-grade quasi-emperor talisman. What exactly was Ning Yu's flying sword? How could it swallow a high-grade quasi-emperor talisman? Of course, this was not the reason why Long De was surprised. The reason why he was surprised was that his soul power was forcefully severed. Could it be Zhou Jiahao made a move? Otherwise, with the strength of his rank 6 quasi-emperor soul power, there was no reason for him to be weaker than Ning Yu. You've lost. Although Ning Yu was secretly excited after receiving Long Da's quasi-emperor talisman, he looked very calm on the surface. He looked at Long De and said calmly, "A rank 6 quasi-emperor is not necessarily very powerful." In fact, Ning Yu's victory in this battle was partly due to luck. Fortunately, Long De was arrogant and did not use the high-grade quasi-emperor talisman immediately. Otherwise, it was almost impossible for him to easily defeat Long De. Divine Wind Emperor. Ning Yu won this battle. I'm sorry, but you did not get a single quota to enter the sacred mountain. Zhou Jiahao stood up and said in a clear voice, "This matter cannot be delayed. I still have to go back and report. I'll bring Ning Yu and the others to the sacred mountain now." "I won't send you off," the emperor said with a cold expression. He suffered a crushing defeat in this contest. The few genius experts of the Divine Wind Empire did not even win a single match. His plan was declared to have failed. Whoosh! Zhou Jiahao did not linger. He immediately brought Ning Yu and sped out of the Divine Wind Palace. After Zhou Jiahao and the others left, the emperor waved his hand and said coldly to the void beside him, "Ning, you go personally. You must kill Ning Yu and the others on their way to the sacred mountain." "Emperor, where's His Highness the Crown Prince?" a hoarse voice came from the void. Chapter 2560. There were a total of 3 forbidden areas in the 100 Forest Weave. Hengduan Mountain Range, Endless Sea, Myriad Demon Forest. From the Divine Wind Empire to the Sacred Mountain, the shortest route was to first use the Space Teleportation Array, then pass through the 10,000 Demon Forest, and finally use the Space Teleportation Array to reach the foot of the Sacred Mountain. When he arrived, Zhou Jiahao and the others did not choose to go through the 10,000 Demon Forest because they had enough time. However, on his way back, Zhou Jiahao suddenly received a message from the Holy Mountain saying that the Holy Mountain assembly would be held in advance. He felt helpless. Zhou Jiahao and the others could only choose to pass through the 10,000 Demon Forest. Swish, swish, swish. In front of the 10,000 Demons Forest, Ning Yu and the others landed. Ever since leaving the Divine Wind Pool, Ning Yu had returned directly to Yang Yuming's residence. He brought the Dark Emperor and the others along and placed them into the Red Demon Sword. Even Mo Shao of the Dragon War Empire was brought along by Ning Yu. After entering the 10,000 Demon Forest, everyone stay close to me. Do not release your aura. Zhou Jiahao took out a token from his bosom and said in a deep voice, "This token has been blessed by a great emperor. It is the pass to the 10,000 Demon Forest." During the conversation, Zhou Jiahao leapt up and was the first to rush into the 10,000 Demon Forest. "Retreat quickly." However, before Zhou Jiahao entered the 10,000 Demon Forest, his pupils shrank and he quickly retreated. Bang! Even though Zhou Jiahao's retreat speed was very fast, he was still hit in the chest by a cultivator who appeared out of thin air. His body flew out and fell heavily to the ground. Even the token was taken away by the other party. The 10,000 Demon token has been blessed by the Great Emperor before. The cultivator who appeared in the air looked at the medallion in his hand. Then, he said in a hoarse voice, "I originally thought that this operation would be boring. However, it looks like it is rather interesting." How dare you steal the great Emperor's token? Zhou Jiahao's expression changed, and he said coldly, Aren't you afraid of being hunted down by the great Emperor? Hunted by a great sovereign? The martial artist that appeared in the void smiled faintly and said, I've heard a little about the situation in Sacred Mountain. There are countless envoys like you. If I kill you and take away the great Emperor's token, who would know that I did it? You're courting death, Zhou Jiahao shouted angrily. As an emissary of the Sacred Mountain, he had been to many places. You could say so. Within the 100 Forest Weave, only this black-robed cultivator dared to openly block the road. Who else would dare to oppose the Sacred Mountain? Are they from the Shati O Weave? Zhou Jiahao frowned and thought to himself. The people from the 100 Forest Weave wouldn't dare to attack him. This was something that he was 100% certain of. Recently, there had been some friction between the Shati O Weave and the 100 Forest Weave, and they were competing against each other. In the past, Shati O Weave might not have attacked them, but this time, it was a matter of life and death for two weaves. Shati O Weave might very well take the risk. After all, Ning Road, this world tree, was the key of the key. I'm familiar with this person. Yang Yuming's expression changed slightly. He didn't know why, but he felt like he had seen this black-robed martial artist somewhere before. Hua! At this moment, the void in the distance split open again. Two martial artists appeared from the void. It's you! Yang Yuming was very familiar with the two martial artists that appeared this time. Not only was Yang Yuming familiar with it, even Zhou Jiahao had heard of it. Yang Zhaokai. Qin He. He was right. These two were Yang Zhaokai and Qin He. However, Yang Zhaokai's cultivation had already broken through to the early Fourth Order Quasi-Emperor realm. Even Yang Zhaokai had reached the early Sixth Order Quasi-Emperor realm. That's us. Looks like you're smart enough to know that we're back. Yang Zhaokai raised his brows and looked at Yang Yuming with interest. Tell me, how do you want to die? Are you going to be killed by me or commit suicide? Stupid teammate. Ning was so angry that his nose was crooked. With his 7th Order Quasi-Emperor cultivation, killing Ning Yu and the others should have been a piece of cake. Moreover, he didn't have to worry about being exposed. But now, of the appearance of Yang Zhaokai and Qin, he was clearly telling Yang Yuming and the others that the Divine Wind Empire wanted to kill them. Once Zhou Jiahao sent the news back to the Sacred Mountain, the consequences would be unimaginable. Forget it, I'll use a high-grade talisman. Ning sighed softly, then took out a talisman from his bosom and threw it into the air. Boom! In a split second, several beams of light shot out from the talisman, surrounding Zhou Jiahao and Ning Yu. High-grade Quasi-Emperor talisman. There were several types. The combat type, like the talisman that Long Di used earlier. Of course, Ning Yu had already stored it into the Red Demon Sword. The defense type, like the one that Ning was using now, surrounded the surroundings, making it difficult for the people inside to get out, and difficult for the people outside to get in. Go! Ning did not waste words. He directly attacked, charging at Zhou Jiahao and the remaining two 6th Order Quasi-Emperors. Among Ning Yu's group, Zhou Jiahao was an early 6th Order Quasi-Emperor, and so were Xie Hu and Xie Jia. And Ying's thinking was very simple. He was responsible for killing Zhou Jiahao and the others, while Yang Zhaokai and Qin He would deal with Ning Yu and the others. With Qin He's early 6th Order Quasi-Emperor cultivation, even if he could not kill Ning Yu, he could still delay them. As long as he could buy himself 3 minutes, everything would be over. Explode. The ideal was very rich, but the reality was very harsh. Ning had just started fighting with Zhou Jiahao and the others. Before a minute had passed, Ning Yu let out a low shout and directly detonated the high-grade Quasi-Emperor talisman that he had obtained from Long Di Rumble. Ning was slightly taken aback by the loud explosion. He had forgotten about this. Ning Yu had snatched away Long Da's high-grade talisman. The appearance of Yang Zhaokai and Qin He had delayed some time. Ningyu was not a fool. He would definitely activate the high-grade Quasi-Emperor talisman. The power of a high-grade Quasi-Emperor talisman was extremely powerful. Qin He and Yang Zhaokai were blasted away on the spot, landing heavily on the ground. After defeating Qin He and Yang Zhaokai in one move, Ningyu did not stay where he was. Instead, he charged at an Ing with Ning Lu and Ao Xing. As for Yang Zhaokai and Qin He, they were handed over to Yang Yiming to deal with. Although Yang Yiming's cultivation was only peak rank 3 Quasi-Emperor, he had no problem dealing with the heavily injured Yang Zhaokai and Qin He. Ha ha ha, good. Today, the 6 of us will join hands and kill this high-grade Quasi-Emperor. With the addition of Ningyu and Ao Xing, Zhou Jiahao threw his head back and laughed wildly, becoming full of confidence. The strength of Ningyu and Ao Xing were very powerful. With the 6 of them joining hands, they might really be able to kill a high-grade Quasi-Emperor. Bang! Bang! It was very obvious. Zhou Jiahao was happy a little too early. And Ing forcefully sent out 2 punches. One landed on Xie Hu and the other on Xie Jia. Each of these 2 punches contained horrifying energy fluctuations. Xie Hu and Xie Jia only lasted for a moment before their bodies were sent flying backward. Swoosh! The sudden change made Zhou Jiahao's heart sink to the bottom. He seemed to have overestimated the strength of his side, muttering about the strength of a high-grade Quasi-Emperor. Chapter 2561. Chapter 2561. Chapter 2561. Carelessness, overestimating yourselves. Do you think a bunch of nobodies like you are qualified to stop me? After defeating Xie Hu and Xie Jiao with 2 punches, An Ying's lips curled up slightly. He looked at Zhou Jiahao and said coldly, "The geniuses of the Sacred Mountain are nothing more than this. After today, the Sacred Mountain will have 3 less top, no, 3 less trash." Swoosh! His voice faded. An Ying's figure flashed and immediately charged at Zhou Jiahao. Damn it! Zhou Jiahao cursed inwardly. Among the 3 envoys of the Sacred Mountain, Xie Hu and Xie Jia were relatively weak and not very strong. However, even if they were not strong, they could contend head-on with a peak rank 6 Quasi-Emperor. But even so, Xie Hu and Xie Jia were still easily defeated, not even able to block a single move. Split up and run. Zhou Jiahao hurriedly transmitted his soul to Ningyu and Ao Xing, saying, "A high-level Quasi-Emperor is very powerful. With our strength, there is no way we can contend against him. You guys enter the 10,000 demon forest. I will try to block this high-level Quasi-Emperor for 3 seconds." In Zhou Jiahao's heart, the lives of Ningyu and the others were much more important than his. After all, they were the people that the Emperor personally wanted. There must be no mistake. Block me for 3 seconds? I can defeat a trash like you in 1 move. An Ing did not slow down. He suddenly accelerated and arrived in front of Zhou Jiahao. His right hand clenched into a fist, and with a violent energy wave, he punched at Zhou Jiahao's head. This punch was powerful and heavy. Even if Zhou Jiahao had a trump card, he absolutely could not withstand it. Stop! At the critical moment, Ningyu raised his head and shouted coldly, "If you don't want Yang Zhaokai to die, stop as soon as possible. Otherwise, Yang Zhaokai will die without a doubt." Swoosh! Ningyu's words caused an Ing to be slightly taken aback. Yang Zhaokai. According to the Emperor, he killed Yang Yiming, so Yang Zhaokai was naturally the crown prince of the Divine Wind Empire. But now, Yang Zhaokai thought he was clever and came to encircle Ningyu and the others, but eventually fell into Ningyu's hands. Shadow had no doubt about it. If he really killed Zhou Jiahao, Ningyu would definitely kill Yang Zhaokai without mercy. After cursing silently, An Ing had no choice but to stop his attacks. He turned to look at Ningyu and said, "Do you think I care about Yang Zhaokai's life or death? You don't care?" Ningyu exerted some force in his right hand, raised the red demon sword, and slashed at Yang Zhaokai's right arm. Gotcha! Then, a crisp sound rang out. Yang Zhaokai's right arm was directly cut off by Ningyu. Actually, Ningyu had to thank Shadow for cutting off Yang Zhaokai's arm. The high-rank quasi-emperor talisman that he used enveloped Yang Zhaokai, Yang Yuming and the others inside. Otherwise, given Ningyu's strength, he really had no way to break the defense of a high-ranked quasi-emperor talisman. You're courting death. Aning looked coldly at Ningyu and said fiercely, I'll say it one last time, if you know what's good for you, release Yang Zhaokai as soon as possible. Otherwise, I'll let you know why flowers are so red. Gotcha! In response to Aning, Ningyu's red demon sword slashed down again. Without a doubt, Yang Zhaokai's left arm was forcefully cut off. Damn it! And Ying's face was ashen. If Ningyu had only cut off Yang Zhaokai's arms, he would not be so nervous. After all, Yang Zhaokai had already advanced to the middle-rank quasi-emperor and could completely regenerate his arm. But, according to this trend, the next thing Ningyu would cut off would be Yang Zhaokai's legs, and then his head. Once his head was cut off, Yang Zhaokai's life would come to an end. Release Zhou Jiahao. Ningyu did not play by the rules. He placed the red demon's sword on Yang Zhaokai's neck and said coldly, I don't want to say the same thing twice. Scram! And Ying's eyes flickered. Finally, he lifted his right leg and kicked Zhou Jiahao toward Ningyu. Bang! Ningyu continued to place the red demon's sword on Yang Zhaokai's neck. Yang Yuming, who was beside him, was responsible for catching Zhou Jiahao. In fact, Xie Hu and Xie Jia also dragged their heavy footsteps to stand beside Ningyu. I advise you to surrender as soon as possible, because you won't be able to leave. Aning crossed his arms in front of his chest and regained his composure. Unless a high-level quasi-emperor makes a move, no one can break the defense set up by a high-level quasi-emperor talisman. Is that so? Ningyu raised his eyebrows. Do you dare to make a bet with me? Bet? What bet? Aning was slightly taken aback, but he still asked. If I can break the defense set up by a high-level quasi-emperor talisman with one punch, then you will let us go. Ningyu casually tossed Yang Zhaokai to Ao Xing and said calmly with the red demon's sword in his hand. Are you that confident in yourself? Aning was somewhat confused. What exactly was Ningyu up to? Not to mention a rank 4 quasi-emperor, even a peak rank 6 quasi-emperor might not be able to break the defense. Could it be that Ningyu had a trump card? The more he thought about it, the more likely it seemed. However, Aning did not expose Ningyu. He thought for a moment, then said, I'll give you this chance. One move. If you can break the defense in one move, I will let you go. But if you can't break the defense in one move, then you will all die. Deal. Ningyu shrugged. Given Ningyu's current mental state, it was impossible for him to break the defense in one move. However, Ningyu was not a hothead. Just now, Ninglu, Ao Xing, and even Zhou Jiahao and Yang Yuming had quietly injected their energy into his body. After gathering the energy of so many people, the power of Ningyu's next punch would depend on the power of an ordinary early rank 7 quasi-emperor. Of course, Ningyu was not stupid enough to reveal his trump card so quickly. He raised his right leg and kicked Qin He in front of him. Looking at Aning, Ningyu said, You don't mind if I devour this trash in front of you, right? I don't mind. Aning had an indifferent expression. Qin He was only an early rank 6 quasi-emperor. Even if Ningyu devoured him, could his cultivation rise to the middle rank 4? Not to mention whether he could raise his cultivation to the middle rank 4, even if he could, Aning was not worried. Because a middle rank 4 quasi-emperor could not break the defense set up by a high-level quasi-emperor talisman. That's good. Ningyu moved forward slightly and stepped on Qin He's chest with his right foot. A terrifying devouring power instantly emerged. A miserable scream came from Qin He's mouth. Young master, save me! Young master, save me! Qin He did not ask an Ing for help, because he knew that even if he asked an Ing for help, an Ing would not help him. Only by asking Yang Zhaokai for help would he have a chance to live. Ningyu, don't go too far. Yang Zhaokai's expression was cold as he said, Qin He is my man. If you let him go, I can plead on your behalf and let you leave alive. Do you think I'm a 3-year-old child? Ningyu curled his lips and said indifferently, if you want Qin He to live, let that high-level quasi-emperor break the defense first. There's no need to discuss anything else. Qin He was the key. Ningyu would not let him go. Chapter 2562. Plot. Ningyu had already thought about it. He swallowed Qin He and did not think about breaking through to the middle 4th-ranked quasi-emperor. Instead, he wanted to keep the energy in Qin He's body and use it to attack the defense set up by the high-level quasi-emperor talisman. The energy in the body of an early 6th-ranked quasi-emperor naturally could not break through the defense. In that case, an Ing would very likely seize the opportunity to attack. Once an Ing attacked, he would fall right into Ningyu's trap. Ningyu was not a fool. He thought more. Even if he broke through the defense, an Ing would never let them leave. Rather than that, he might as well plot against an Ing. He might even succeed. Ah! As Ningyu swallowed Qin He screamed like a pig being slaughtered. Ningyu did not deliberately speed up and even slowed down a little. It took him a full 10 minutes to completely devour Qin He, turning him into a piece of human skin. Mission accomplished. Ningyu kicked Qin He away before moving his feet and slowly walking towards Umbra's side. In order to act more realistically, Ningyu took the risk of being attacked by an Ing and moved slightly closer to him. To tell the truth, Ningyu's heart beat much faster. At this moment, as long as an Ing attacked, the possibility of Ningyu being killed would be very high. Therefore, Ningyu was highly focused, paying close attention to the changes in an Ying's expression. Go! After confirming that an Ing had no intention of launching a sneak attack, Ningyu pretended to transfer the energy that he had swallowed Qin He to his fist and threw a punch at the defense around him. Crack! Crack! The energy in a 6th-rank quasi-emperor was still very strong. Ningyu's punch directly caused the defense to make cracking sounds, as if it was about to shatter. Far from enough. An Ing watched all this coldly. How could the energy in a mere 6th-rank quasi-emperor break through the defense? Shadow's thoughts were simple. Once Ningyu showed the slightest sign of weakness, he would immediately attack and kill Ningyu by force. Or in other words, they didn't want to kill Ningyu, they just wanted to capture Ningyu. In that case, they could at least use Ningyu to exchange for Yang Zhaokai. What are you waiting for? Ningyu didn't seem too disappointed when he failed to break through Shadow's defense. Instead, he kept his perception on Shadow. It was just an act. If he couldn't deceive an Ing, what was the point of putting on an act this time? His eyes darted around. With a thought, Ningyu stimulated his body and forcefully spat out a mouthful of blood. Poochie! Dark red blood spurted out. Ningyu's face also turned a little pale. Now! As soon as Ningyu spat out a mouthful of blood, an Ing seized the opportunity to leap forward. An Ying's speed was very fast. Almost in an instant, he arrived in front of Ningyu. There was no hesitation. An Ing clenched his right fist and punched out at Ningyu's head. It seemed that an Ying's punch was powerful, but it wasn't. In order to prevent Ningyu from being killed, an Ing only used 80% of his strength. 80% of his strength could easily defeat Ningyu, but it wouldn't be enough to kill him. Good chance. An Ying's forceful attack made Ningyu overjoyed. He had been waiting for this moment. An Ing didn't know that he had gathered a lot of energy in his body and arrogantly didn't use his full strength. Boom. Similarly, he clenched his right fist. Ningyu didn't use any fancy moves and punched out. Bang. In an instant, Ningyu's fist collided with an Ying's. Two fists collided. Ningyu didn't move from his spot, but dark shadow was sent flying several feet away. He only stopped when his body collided with the defensive wall behind him. Poochie! And Ning spat out a mouthful of blood. And Ying's aura began to drop rapidly. In a short period of time. And Ying's aura had already dropped to the peak of the 6th rank quasi-emperor realm. Come back! And Ying's expression changed dramatically as his aura dropped. He immediately withdrew the high-level quasi-emperor talisman and held it in his hand. He looked at Ningyu warily and said, "You cheated." "Cheated? Haha." Ningyu smiled faintly and said, "How can it be called cheating when I'm a mortal enemy? Moreover, it was you who attacked me first. I shouldn't be the one who cheated, but you who didn't keep your word. Originally, I had already planned to surrender, but you insisted on attacking me. What else could I do? I can't just give up, can I?" And Ying's expression was gloomy. Although Ningyu's punch did not kill him, it made his aura drop seriously. At the very least, his strength had dropped by more than half. Under such circumstances, he did not dare to fight with Ningyu anymore. Who knew if Ningyu still had a trump card? It was fine if he did not have a trump card, but once he had a trump card, if he forcefully attacked again, the consequences would be unimaginable. It's over, it's all over. Seeing Ning being repelled by Ningyu, Yang Zhaokai's face turned pale, his heart sinking to the bottom. At this time, Yang Zhaokai was very regretful. If he had known earlier, he definitely would not have come. He originally thought that with Ning, a high-level quasi-emperor, around, he could fish in troubled waters and take revenge. Who would have thought? Even a high-level quasi-emperor and Ing was defeated. Now, he just did not know if the emperor had a backup. If the emperor had a backup, it would be fine. If he did not, he and an Ing would both die here. Go. Ningyu did not continue to attack, but grabbed Yang Zhaokai's arm and dashed straight towards the 10,000 demon forest. Swoosh. The moment Ningyu left, Ning Lu, Zhou Jiahao and the rest hurriedly followed. Staying any longer was clearly courting death. Just now, Ningyu's attack had drained all the energy in everyone's body. At this time, forget about an Ing, even an ordinary rank 1 quasi-emperor was enough to easily kill them. What's going on? The sudden departure of Ningyu and the rest made an Ing a little dumbfounded. He did not know what price Ningyu paid for that move. He only knew that his current combat strength had dropped, and it was not suitable to pursue. If Ningyu could still use the same move, then he would die without a doubt. Wait for me to recuperate first. And Ing took a deep breath and took out a jade bottle from his bosom. Crack! Without hesitation, he directly threw the jade bottle into his mouth and chewed. The jade bottle shattered, and a few medicinal pills entered his body through An Ying's throat. If Ningyu was here, he would definitely notice that all of these pills were at the peak of the initial stage Emperor rank. It was indeed a waste for an Ing to swallow several peak early Emperor rank medicinal pills at once. However, the effects of peak early Emperor rank medicinal pills were still very good. After swallowing a few peak early Emperor rank medicinal pills, An Ying's injuries recovered at an extremely fast speed. Time passed. In the blink of an eye, 10 minutes had passed. In 10 minutes, several peak early Emperor rank medicinal pills had been consumed. An Ying's cultivation had completely recovered to its peak state. In fact, his strength had also improved. You're tuning in to the Phoenix Knights YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.